7.com. Now, here are your hosts, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
I got a piece of land out in the countryside. Lay back and smell the sun. Warm up the Georgia pie. It's so good to be taking it easy. Why would I ever leave? 'Cause I know I got some good friends.
Greetings and salutations as we welcome you into the Wednesday edition of Sports 56 Middays. Looks like another beautiful day in the Mid-South. Hope your Wednesday is off to a terrific start. It's Sports 56 Middays, the Wednesday, November 18th, 2020 edition. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, Gabe Kuhn with you. We are in the Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. There are holidays at home sale going on right now. Check it out. When you head on over to Family Leisure, ask for an official Sports 56 mask while supplies last. The first hour of the program also brought to you by Action247.com. Lots going on in the world of sports as usual. Of course, it's the traditional November NBA draft. That will take place tonight. We'll talk about the draft today on the program. We got the latest from college football, college basketball. Jerry Palm will join us at 11:05. But before we do that, at 10:25, our buddy Jay Phillips from 107.5 The Game in Columbia, South Carolina, on the recent decision by the Gamecocks, the top brass, to fire Will Muschamp. What it means, who they'll go after. We will discuss that with Jay. Sigmund Bloom at 12:05 in his normal Wednesday time slot to answer all your NFL fantasy football questions. At 12:30, we will do the 5 favorite songs segment. Today, the topic is the word little or small. I guess you can go little, small. Text in with your list at 67129. First Bank text line always open 24/7. And if you're watching us live, you can message us with the lists at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, and Instagram. Eli Savoy, how are you?
I am doing very, very good.
I see Mickey Mouse behind you.
Yes,
Do tell. What does it mean?
Today is Mickey Mouse's birthday.
Happy birthday, Mr. Mickey Mouse. How old is he now?
How old do you think Mickey Mouse is?
I'm going to guess Mickey Mouse is 95.
That's pretty close, but you lose because you went over. And the Price is Right rules.
92?
92. I'm a little shocked. Mickey Mouse is not much older than my dad. He looks a lot younger than my dad, but he's not much older. I would have thought he was actually a lot older than my dad.
Yeah, he hasn't aged much, has he? Mickey Mouse.
No. I guess, and I would assume, my guess is that Mickey Mouse celebrates his birthday with cheesecake.
At the Cheesecake Factory.
Maybe. I mean, that'd be probably one of his dream places to go, I would think would be the Dream Cheesecake Factory.
Probably a little stressful year, though, for Mickey and everybody involved with Disney as things are off a little bit financially with the situation with COVID-19 and the parks. Some are open, some aren't. Very limited.
Mickey's probably had, he's been relaxing all year. He hasn't had to do much.
No, that's true.
He sat back, watched NBA basketball. He was just enjoying NBA basketball.
He was in the bubble?
He's like, hell yeah, man, this is cool. I got all these NBA players in town. This is pretty fun. Normally I got to go out and entertain all these damn people all the time. Now I just kind of get to sit back and watch some NBA guys come in and play basketball at my house.
Did they have to administer COVID tests to Mickey?
He's thinking, boy, I'm glad I put up that basketball court in my backyard so we can host all these NBA games. This has been fun.
I'm thinking bottom line, though. Bottom line's got to stress out Mickey a little bit.
Those
black ears are going to turn a little gray, I think.
Mickey's got money.
He does have money.
Mickey's not struggling now. He's going to do all right. He knows once those gates are fully open again, the money will be rushing in again anyway. So Mickey, the last thing he's got on his mind is Zeddy money issues.
Oh, Mickey, you're so fine. You're so fine. You know what I saw yesterday? One of my neighbors had? You'll never guess.
Let me think. What you saw yesterday that your neighbor had.
I think you probably could guess it, though, because we're getting closer. That's your hint.
Christmas tree.
Christmas lights. I saw the first.
I know some people, there's Christmas lights up in our neighborhood. I've seen some people posting that they've got their Christmas trees up.
Oh, really? Now,
yeah.
I haven't, in person, seeing lights for the first time, one of my neighbors. So that happened last night.
Yeah, people are doing it early. I guess it's just the boredom.
Mm-hmm.
You're home all the time now, looking for things to do. So Why not put those darn Christmas lights? But I guess maybe they're looking at the fact that the weather's really nice now. So if you're going to put the outside Christmas lights, if you're one of those people that does all the outside stuff,
right,
you might as well do it now before it gets cold or anything like that. You can take advantage of the nice weather to get out there and do that.
Absolutely. Well, I mentioned at the beginning we got the NBA draft, which we'll talk about in just a moment. Also, a lot of NBA trade rumors swirling around. We've already had a number of trades that have happened, but I want to start things off with college football, fresh off the presses just moments ago. The Houston Cougars game against the SMU Mustangs postponed, and that means we're up to 9. Last week we had 15 postponements / cancellations. Yesterday it was announced that Wake Forest and Duke had been postponed, which made it 8, but now SMU Houston makes it 9. Now we're trying to get Mike Oresco, the commissioner of the American, on the show tomorrow, but my gosh, it never ends for any of these commissioners trying to wheel and deal. And I wanted to reach out to Mike well before this news, the SMU Houston news, because of the changes that they're trying to make to get Navy's games that have been postponed, one against Memphis, rescheduled, which isn't the easiest thing to do when you take into the fact that you have an Army-Navy game that will be played and is extremely important to both those institutions. So it pales in comparison, even though they're a conference member to the American, but the two games against Tulsa and Memphis, respectively, pale in comparison to that Army-Navy and that tradition. But it looks like they're trying, not only are they trying, but they are close to announcing that they have been able to work it out in the schedule. Yesterday, there were stories out that had Memphis and Navy playing a week from this Saturday, moving the game to a week from this Saturday, again, rescheduled. That would be at Navy in Annapolis. Then I believe the Houston game, which is on the schedule for the 5th, that was already rescheduled from earlier in the year. That will still take place on the 5th, I believe. And then the Tulane game, which was scheduled for the 28th in New Orleans, would be moved to the 12th. Now, the Houston-Tulane could be flip-flopped. I'm not 100% sure. But that's the game plan that they're trying to get done. And again, Mike Oresco and the powers that be at the American have been very busy, not only rescheduling things for Memphis and Navy, but everybody else who has had games postponed.
Yeah, it's I can imagine the task that it is, because you're trying to deal with all of these different moving parts of all the different teams, and I'm sure you go through some combinations and think, all right, we can do that. Then you get to one point, like, oh no, that's not going to work because of this thing, and then you're like, we got to start all over. Let's start with this game again. And so yeah, it's got to be, and obviously requires flexibility on everybody's parts. It makes it difficult. As Jeff Crane was talking about yesterday, for these people that do the travel and everything else and booking hotels, like when you're changing games a week out and all of a sudden you were supposed to be going to New Orleans and now you're going to be going to Annapolis, and all the things that go into trying to set up a trip for a football team, that is a nightmare.
The only positive, in a weird way, is that I don't think you have to worry about hotels being booked and not being able to book a flight, because chartered flights, commercial flights, every flight is down. And obviously hotel capacities and things of that nature completely down because people aren't traveling. So it's a pain in the butt, but in that sense, I think they can get it done. Now, you also have the news today, and I don't know where this one came from. I was talking with Gabe before the show about this. The Pac-12, according to reports, is considering allowing its teams to play non-conference opponents. Now, remember, they started late. They're only talking about, a 6-game season in conference? I don't understand this, unless what their thought is that there's teams that have already missed games because of COVID. So if you can't schedule a game with a conference opponent and you guys are healthy, then why not be able to reach out to a non-conference foe and schedule a game so your guys are playing football?
Yeah, I think that's what it is. It's if you have a game, as I said, canceled because the other team's issues, and there's no way to pick up a conference game. And last week, obviously, Cal and UCLA were able to put something together, but I mean, at least because otherwise, I mean, you could be looking at some of these teams playing like 4 games for the season. So it's, hey, if you can find somebody else to at least get a game in, then you can go do that, and we'll allow you to do that, to at least play a game rather than just sit around and do nothing and end up playing 4 or 5 games for the entire season.
Exactly. And a lot of the talk this morning was, well, BYU, here they are, an independent, ready to play, to help their resume, to help their case, to be able to play somebody of quality in the Pac-12. So that may just happen, because you look at BYU. What do they have? 1 game left? Are they done? I mean, they're pretty much near the end of their season, and they're unblemished, but they haven't had this murderer's row of games. They played Boise State, and they destroyed Boise State. And Boise State, that's their only loss so far in the Mountain West. So that was a good win, but you would like another big win on the resume just in case some of those Power 5 conferences fell to the wayside, and then BYU and even Cincinnati's in that discussion.
BYU, according to what I'm looking at here, has powerhouse North Alabama.
That's this weekend, right?
Coming in this weekend, and then they will play San Diego State on December 12th.
San Diego State's a good team from the Mountain West. They're not a great team. They lost to San Jose State earlier, but San Jose State's off to a good start. So, yeah, BYU, if they were able to schedule a USC or a Utah or something like that, Oregon would be the best if you were able to play them and knock them off, and then you have a little bit more of an argument. College football action last night. It was the MACtion. Kent State, I think, just scored again moments ago. 69-35 over Akron. I hope you had the over in that one. 104 points scored. And Buffalo over Bowling Green, 42-17.
There were some incredible performances in those games last night.
The running back was it Buffalo?
Yeah, Jarrett Patterson, who went for 301 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Is that all?
His last 2 games against Bowling Green, last year's game and this year's game against Bowling Green, 599 yards and 10 touchdowns.
Jeez.
That's
thorn in the side.
That's full seasons for guys. Like, he did in 2 games against one opponent, 599 yards and 10 touchdowns.
Yeah, I'm sure all the defenders are having nightmares of that guy.
And then in the other game, in the Kent State-Akron game, Kent State quarterback Dustin Crum threw for 348 and 3 touchdowns, ran for 104, had 2 touchdowns. And Akron's running back, Tion Dollard, 202 yards and 4 touchdowns. Can you imagine running for 202 yards and 4 touchdowns, and you lose by 34 points?
Yeah, it wasn't as bad, but the South Carolina running back who had 5 touchdowns against Ole Miss, and they ended up losing that game by, 17? But, yes, that's a tough one when you lose by that much. But Kent State's pretty good. They're actually a pretty good team. I watched a little bit of that game.
Well, and Akron and Bowling Green are the
worst, right?
Awful. I mean, Akron hasn't won a game. I think that was that 19 or 20. I don't remember what it is. Their losing streak just continues to add up, and Bowling Green is just giving up like 50 points every time they play.
Yeah, Bowling Green hasn't been good since Dino Babers left. And Akron and Kent State, I didn't realize how close they were in proximity, the 2 schools. I think they're 14 miles away from each other. All right, from college football to college basketball. And another team has withdrawn from the Crossover Mower South Dakota event next week, which is the event that Memphis is scheduled to play in. Texas A&M has decided not to go to South Dakota, where the COVID-19 rate is extremely high, one of the worst in the country. Duke, Ohio State, Dayton, and now Texas A&M have all withdrawn. Memphis still in there.
Yeah, I mean, I asked Jeff Crane yesterday about it, and he said they're confident that this thing is going to take place despite what's happening in South Dakota as far as the COVID rate is concerned. But, yeah, I mean, it's at some point you're going to run out of teams to replace teams when they keep withdrawing, because I don't know how many teams are really wanting to go. And he said they've already started, these extensive protocols and things for that. And if you've already started doing that, well, if you're trying to get replacements now, they're obviously not able. They haven't started those things already.
Right.
So I don't know. It's going to be, I know they're limiting who they're taking as far as that. They're doing, like the broadcasters aren't going. They're, I think it's 30 people is the whole traveling party that you're allowed to take. Something like that. They're doing a lot of things, but yeah, I mean, when you just look at the numbers in South Dakota, it's at some point, I wonder if this thing is actually going to happen.
Yeah, and all the broadcasts for Memphis basketball, the road games will be broadcast from the studios here in Memphis, so the traveling party will not take place, which is obviously a big change. Football, they've been traveling. I haven't been able to do that as a sideline reporter, but Wolo and Russell Copeland, who's been in for Jarvis Greer on the road games, they have been traveling for football, but basketball, that will not happen. Speaking of basketball, our friend Kermit Davis has tested positive for COVID-19, and a second test has confirmed he has COVID-19. This is the comments from Kermit Davis Jr. via a social media post. My second test that I took Tuesday confirmed that I had tested positive for COVID-19. I'm experiencing very mild symptoms and will continue to remain isolated at home while monitoring my health daily with our medical staff. Through all of our excellent technology, I will stay in very close contact with our team virtually, watching practices live on Zoom, and organizing day-to-day operations leading up to the start of the season. In the meantime, I know our staff and players will be ready to compete in next week's Justin Reed Ole Miss Classic. Thank you to everyone who has reached out wishing me a speedy recovery. In the meantime, it will be Ronnie Hamilton, one of the assistants, taking over on an interim basis to lead this team through their first 2 games of the year. Tough break there for Kermit.
Yeah, and I would imagine this will be something we'll see throughout the season with various coaches who end up not coaching some games because I'm sure there will be others that test positive. But that's certainly unfortunate. The good thing is that he says it's only some very mild symptoms, and so hopefully that will be the case, and he'll get over it quickly and be back on the sideline in the very near future.
Look, as everybody knows by now, it affects people in different ways. Some people have lost their lives. Some people have been in isolation, sick as dogs. Other people have barely experienced symptoms. Trevor Lawrence, who has been given the green light to play for Clemson this week, said they asked him how he's feeling. He goes, I feel like I felt 2 weeks ago. He feels the same. He didn't really have any symptoms. Kermit Davis saying it's very, very mild. But there are people that are, again, sick and in ICU and people that have lost their lives. So don't look at that and say, well, he hardly has a symptom. No, it treats people in all different ways.
Well, I mean, if you're elderly or if you have underlying health issues, it's going to have big. But generally, younger people, especially the college kids out there, healthy ones, they're not. I mean, they're. I don't know what the 0.00 or whatever 1%, even if that much goes to the hospital. Most of them don't really fit. That's why, again, college kids aren't scared of it. They're not going to really change what they do because their idea is like, even if I get it, so what? I might be sick for a day or two, and that's just going to be probably the sniffles and maybe a little fever. So that's why the idea that they keep thinking college kids are going to start just absolutely doing things differently, I just don't understand.
College students don't fear anything. They don't fear VD. They don't fear experimental drugs when you're in college. Like, yeah, give me that. I'm not saying all college kids, but I mean, go back in time. That's the time that kids and young adults were experimenting a lot, and they continue to have that kind of attitude. And I'm not saying it's a bad attitude or a good attitude, but that's usually the attitude of college kids, that I'm invincible.
I would guess that in the general population at many of these schools, there are probably many kids who have had it and never knew they had it.
Exactly.
Because they're not being tested like the football players, everybody else. So they don't ever feel any symptoms, so they don't ever get tested, and they probably have had it and recovered from it and have no idea that they ever even had the darn thing.
We have a replacement for Texas A&M at the event, the Crossover Classic in South Dakota, presented by Bad Boy Mowers. Northern Iowa. Huh? You jumping out of your seats, ladies and gentlemen. Northern Iowa.
Northern Iowa's a pretty good program.
It was 10 years ago.
And the good thing for them is that's very close. They don't have to travel very far. That's probably they might drive up there. I don't know, but
yeah, but you lose Duke, Ohio State, Dayton, and Texas A&M. You have the likes of Northern Iowa replacing them. Come on.
Well, again, I mean, it is what it is. But Northern Iowa is a good mid-major program.
They were at one point they were really good. I don't know how good they've been recently, but that's not what Memphis had signed up for originally. But they are committed. According to Jeff Crane yesterday, it's a fluid situation, but they expect to be playing in this event in South Dakota. We got a lot of NBA that we'll get to. Trade rumors swirling around. We've already had a number of trades. Tonight is the draft. We will go over that and make a few predictions a little bit later on in the program. When we come back, Jay Phillips is going to join us to talk a little bit of about South Carolina and the decision to let go Will Muschamp. Who are they going to replace him with, in Jay's opinion? We'll talk some SEC football with Jay as well. One of our fine sponsors is Platinum Jewelers, the jewelers of the stars. Who wears jewelry from Platinum and endorses it? You've probably heard the ads. Jaren Jackson Jr. of the Grizzlies, D'Angelo Williams, Anthony Miller of the Bears, Mike Miller, Joe Theismann, just to name a few. But you don't have to be a Memphis sports star to wear jewelry from Platinum Jewelers. Platinum has something for everyone. They specialize in bridal engagement rings and can customize what you're looking for, even from a photo. In addition, Platinum Jewelers has a huge selection of pre-owned Rolex watches and other luxury brands, plus earrings and bracelets, rings of all types, a wide variety. They'll also pay top dollar for your gold, diamonds, and Rolexes. They can appraise your jewelry, do repair work, your one-stop shop. Platinum has been serving the greater Memphis area for over 20 years. Two convenient locations at 9387 Poplar Avenue in Germantown. That's next to the Fresh Market, and 545 Perkins Extended at Poplar in East Memphis. Call them at 901-907-0626. Make sure to follow them on Facebook and Instagram. When you stop by or when you call, ask for Preston Hudson. Tell Preston that Greg Gaston sent you. It's Platinum Jewelers, the jewelers of the stars. Jay Phillips is next, just underway on a Wednesday. This is Middays on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1, and 98.5 FM.
Start your day the right way with Peter Edmiston and Anthony Sane on Sports 56 Mornings. Weekdays from 7 to 10 on Sports 56, 98.5 FM and 96.1 FM.
Water damage to your home or business can be an absolute nightmare. And the faster you remove the standing water, the faster you can prevent secondary damage. Landmark Construction and Emergency Services specializes in water extraction. They have been a trusted name in the Mid-South for over 20 years. They are a Memphis-based company ready to serve your needs with their 24-hour emergency response. They are always on call and will respond within an hour. They work with most insurance companies and are the official restoration contractor of the Memphis Tigers home team. Landmark Construction and Emergency Services can't prevent disasters in your home and at your business, but their water damage team will certainly respond quickly to minimize and restore the damage. Call 901-452-0390. That's 901-452-0390 or online at landmarkco.org.
I'm a big fan of Town Village, and there is always something to do year-round. Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. Looking for a great place to retire, but you still have a very active lifestyle? Then visit Town Village. Only requirements that you're 55 plus. Prices per month starting at $24.50. The Gourmet Chef welcomes you to visit our restaurant and bistro. Package includes 3 complimentary meals per day, maid service, free local transportation, monthly coffee club, theme dinner parties, lots of fun. Visit us and call Daniel or Bo at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home. Town Village Audubon Park.
Looking for a new ride to celebrate the end of 2020? We got it at Gossett Kia's holiday sales event. Command the season and you'll find what you want, need, and love at Gossett Kia on Covington Pike. 2020 Kia Forte, $133 a month lease. 2021 Kia Soul, $148 a month lease. Plus 2021 Kia K5, $189 per month lease. All 36 months, $3149 due at signing. And don't miss 2020 Kia K900. We got it at $10,000 off MSRP. You want it, we goss it at Gossett Kia, 1900 Covington Pike, or shop 24/7 Kia, CovingtonPike.com. Ask for Bobby J. He'll put you in a new Kia today.
All 36-month leases, $31.49 due at signing, 0 security deposit, 10,000 miles per year, 20 cents excess mileage, $650 acquisition fee, Forte, LE 242-174, MSRP 20,505, sold, M7755, 682, MSRP 20,315, K5, MG 003-199, MSRP 25,725, K900, MSRP 65,610, L60 26,907, L60 21,220, includes all rebates and incentives, PF 695, excludes tax title and license with approved credit offer valid through 11/30/2020, dealer stock only, warranty is a limited powertrain warranty, see Kia.com or retailer for details.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. The storms we've had over the past several months have been devastating to our communities. The rainy season is ahead. You may have not even noticed the dripping in your attic, water stains throughout your home, or even worse, mold and mildew. Please call Brian Elder Roofing and we will send out our project managers to assess any damage. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. We will measure your roof from outer space. 0% for 60 months, even no payments till 2022 are available with approved credit. If you've noticed missing shingles, water stains, leaks in your roof, call us before you call your insurance company at 867-0303. That's 867-0303, and we will provide a free, thorough inspection of your roof's condition.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
The holidays are just around the corner. Have you heard what James Gaddis Jewelers is doing? Everything. James Gaddis has everything for your family, friends, and loved ones. A tremendous selection of diamonds and jewels, gold and silver, and more. Lots of watches, tons of custom-made jewelry, diamonds, fine gemstones, bracelets, necklaces, so many choices. Romantics will love the one-of-a-kind estate and vintage jewelry. And with the experts at James Gaddis, pick out the most dazzling and beautiful diamond, bridal, and engagement rings. Plus, 2 repair experts for fine watches and jewelry. You can find everything to fit your style and budget with layaway and financing available. James Gaddis, a Memphis tradition, local and family owned. Whatever your holiday dream, make it come true at James Gaddis Jewelers, 4900 Poplar.
Be sure to listen for the Memphis Sports Fact, brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers each Monday and Friday on Sports 56 Middays.
Like a coin in your mint, I am dented.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays. This hour is brought to you by Action247.com. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Take me to the pilot for control. Take me to the pilot of your song.
All right, before we bring Jay Phillips on, here's the updated bracket in South Dakota for next week's Bad Boy Mowers crossover event. West Virginia, Northern Iowa, St. Mary's and Memphis, Creighton and South Dakota State, Utah State and Wichita State, now without their coach after the mutual parting of ways of Greg Marshall. That's your field. Originally, Duke, Ohio State, Dayton, Texas A&M. It is not the same. This was pointed out to me during the break by Gabe. Thank you, Gabe. I now have seen the University of Maryland reaching out and also throwing this out there on social media. Today is the late Lenny Bias's 57th birthday. If he was alive today, he would be 57 years old. Absolute legend. The one cherished piece of memorabilia that I have is the Lenny Bias jersey that I have, which is would fit me and 3 other people. It's so big, but we lost an absolute legend. I know Jay knows all about Maryland and Lenny Bias, and I think the greatness that we would have seen in the NBA. Jay Phillips is the host of the halftime show on 107.5 The Game in Columbia, South Carolina. You can follow him on Twitter at JPhillips1075. He joins us now on Sports 56 Middays. Hey, Jay.
Hey, guys. Yeah, man, I still remember how painful that was when Len Bias died, because, boy, going to the Celtics and how good they were, but how amazing he was in the ACC. And yeah, Greg, just for full disclosure, obviously you're a proud alum of UMD. I have a daughter who's a senior there now. A couple of years ago, we were at a parents' event, and they were auctioning off seats from old Cole Fieldhouse, and in a silent auction. And I'm like, all right, I'll put down some numbers. And so I threw down a couple $100 thinking, yeah, I'll put my name on the list. Come back like an hour later. Suffice it to say that it had gone so far out of my price range that it no longer mattered if I tried to make a follow-up bid. And I was like, dang, but you mentioned memorabilia, and I really wanted that, but wasn't going to happen. But you think about the athletes that could have been, and I don't need to go on with this for a second, but in my lifetime, for the athletes that were never, for whatever reason, able to reach the potential, I feel the most loss or sorrow about Len Bias. I don't know that he'd have been the best ever NBA player or anything like that, but dang, if I don't think he could have been one of the 3, 4, or 5. He was so brilliantly good.
I agree completely.
Yeah, that was a terrible, terrible tragedy. There's no doubt. I do always like at silent auctions like that. If I like getting there early, finding some items that I know are going to get really expensive that I could never afford, but I really like, and putting that little bid down first, just to say I once had it. Just,
do you think they chuckle?
I almost had that one. I was there. I was the leading bidder for a while. I can't believe they outbid me by $5,000, but I had it for a while.
Do you think they laugh? They walk over there and go, "Wow, a new Mercedes-Benz, $45. Who is this joker?"
I'll find the one that has a minimum bid that I know is like something I would never want to. Like, I'm not paying that much money, but I know somebody's going to outbid me anyway, so I'm not going to get stuck with it. So let me just throw down like a couple $1,000s as if I'm going to pay that for this thing.
I'd like to see you at a live auction. And they get in trouble, and then the guy goes, "You know what? Let him have it." And you go, "What?"
It's always easy to find the people who are going to outbid you.
It is.
All right, Jay. Let's talk turkey here. First of all, why now for Muschamp? Why in season?
Yeah, that's a great question, Greg. And I can only think that look, last time Steve Spurrier quit on his own in the middle of the season, and it gave South Carolina a so-called head start that you might argue now didn't matter a hill of beans because here we are 5 years later, right? I think this time Ray Tanner, the athletics director, told us the other day that the feeling around the program and within the department was simply such that prolonging this was only going to do harm. Relative to last time, again, that was Steve Spurrier's own move. But now, as all of us know, there's an early signing day for college football in terms of the high school recruits, and it comes in the middle of December. So doing it now, Ray Tanner said specifically, allows South Carolina the chance to get that new head coach, even if he doesn't have a staff in place by mid-December, a new head coach in place that can immediately begin for the kids that are committed to tell them what's up. Maybe they have a chance to stay. Maybe they have a chance to go. If there is any kind of feeling, as I understand it, most of these kids are being told by the current staff that your commitment will be honored. So don't worry, you're not going to get dropped by someone, but at least a chance to maybe for the some that might feel a little squeamish about it now to at least meet their new coach. And secondly, and on that line, in January, we're expected to see the legislation at the NCAA level pass that will allow one-time transfers without penalty and really without question. And there will be some departures from this team. I think a new coach, the hope anyway, is that a new coach will be able to minimize the amount of departure. And especially when you consider that there's no eligibility issue this year in terms of your status, that becomes really important and maybe even more important than recruiting high school kids because, you'll get those kids back for an additional year at no cost to you, if you will.
So one of the things in this weird year we're in with COVID, with this move in season, we saw a decent amount of kids opting out. I think both starting corners, including the outstanding one, and then a safety defensive lineman as well. Has there been any other departures, and are they going to have enough guys to actually field the defense?
Yeah, they'll have bodies, Eli. They'll have bodies. I don't know how good they are because you're right. Look, South Carolina between injury and opt out, within the last 4 days from the game until today, lost 5 of their 11 starters on defense, and it's a defense that's not good to begin with, and not deep to begin with, and all of them matter. There is no doubt about that. Aaron Sterling on the defensive line. Been around the SEC a long time. J.C. Horn, I think will be no worse than a second-round pick. He's the corner you mentioned. Had a brilliant day against Auburn. Israel Mukuamu is done for injury. He didn't opt out, but he's done with injury and is also somebody that means a lot here. So I don't know what it's going to look like Saturday night against Missouri. I suppose if there's good news, and I hate to say it that way, I air quote the word good, Missouri is going to come to Columbia, South Carolina with, I think, under 60 scholarship football players because of COVID-19, situations. So this might be a really ugly game, as if games for South Carolina could get a whole lot ugly.
Jay, within reason, who's your dream coach out there?
Within reason. Gosh, Greg, I would say it like this. What I have been saying on my show this week is that I think this time, and with a little bit of time, look, the writing's been on the wall for a while, okay? And good athletics directors and good school presidents and those around them are going to have seen that writing on the wall and begun to prepare. I really think that what's going to matter here this time is someone that really wants this job, not just someone that wants a job in the Southeastern Conference because it will pay them a lot of money. Nothing wrong with making a lot of money. Got no problem with that. Good for anybody. This is America. Wave the flag. At the same time, is your heart in it? There were some, I don't want to say Will Muschamp's heart was never in it, but he was the third choice. And I don't know that South Carolina was ever a job where he was saying as he was coming up, boy, there's the job I want.
Right.
South Carolina. On the other hand, as I understand it, there are two candidates right now that have long looked at this job and said, I would like it. And I'll just do it in alphabetical order so it doesn't sound like I'm doing one over another. One is Shane Beamer. Shane is the assistant head coach now at Oklahoma, obviously very famous father. Mm-hmm. Shane worked here for 4 seasons for Steve Spurrier. He's worked at Mississippi State. He's worked at Georgia. Again, he's been at OU for several years now. And while he's never been a head coach, I do think Shane checks a lot of the boxes and could be sort of that, dare I say it around here anyway, Dabo Swinney or Ed Orgeron type of CEO who will surround himself with quality people and not meddle, I suppose. Is maybe that's too strong a word. The other, again, I'm going alphabetically, is Billy Napier down at Louisiana. Billy is from this area. He played college ball up in Greenville at Furman. He coached at Clemson for several seasons. He knows the Southeastern Conference, and people that I've spoken with said that he has high interest in this job, that he knows there are limitations at South Carolina, but that there are also some very, very good things about the job at South Carolina and sees it as his type of job. Look, you do something great one day and you move on, so be it. I think people would love that here, guys, because that doesn't happen in South Carolina. And if somebody leaves for a better job, well, it's only going to be because they were doing something right for you and you might have a good position somewhere else. I mean, look, the Urban Meyer, Bob Stoops, because they've had Lou Holtz and Steve Spurrier here, that's not happening this time, Greg. That's just not happening. I think you've got to find somebody this time who, A, really knows what they're doing, but B, really wants the job that is South Carolina-centric and not just in the SEC.
Talking with Jay Phillip from 107.5 The Game in Columbia. So, Jay, in this world where colleges and universities are cutting staff and furloughing people and everything else, what is has there been any reaction to the optics of firing a coach or you're paying $13, $14, $15 million, whatever it is, to go away in these current times? Yes.
And it's been mixed. I think some get it, and I think that's an excellent question. I will tell you guys, I'll have more. Ray Tanner, the AD, is going to be on my show this afternoon, and I'll ask him more about that. Is he getting help from boosters? How much was in the budget? How much of that question you asked, factors in terms of, well, okay, if I keep this guy and we're losing badly, and fans don't like him, are those same paying customers next year going to be paying? Are they going to are they going to be with me? Especially because we don't even know yet. A year from now, let's certainly hope, right, that we have full ballparks again. But what if we don't? Are you going to lose money, even more money than you would lose by doing this? Also, within the contract, Will is going to be paid, and I think they're negotiating a number. I think what's good, weird to say, Ray Tanner and Will Muschamp have the same agent. Maybe that's good. Maybe that's not. I don't know. But the contract calls for Will to be paid in 48 installments, a 4-year period of equal installments. So budget-wise, this is a hit that they can absorb a little more easily. They're not stroking a 13-point-something million check.
Yeah. Well, and I obviously your point is well taken there. If that's where many coaches get fired when it becomes it would cost you more money to keep them than it would cost you to get rid of them. and when that thing tilts that way, that's when you know you have to get rid of a coach.
Well, you're dealing with the public. I'm sure you take phone calls and you get texts and emails from fans of the Gamecocks. What have they been saying? Have they been basically clamoring for an ouster of Muschamp at this point in time?
Yes. And the support that was there, Greg. I'll flash back about this time a year ago. I'm really not kidding. The feeling was basically the same because South Carolina had upset Georgia in Athens, and then they had lost at home after leading in the third quarter, lost at home by double digits to Florida, went to Knoxville and got their butt kicked by Tennessee, didn't score a point in the second half, and I think lost by 20. Came home, lost to Appalachian State. Eli Drinkwitz now at Missouri. And look, App State was a good team. It's not a disparaging thing about them, but in my opinion, a school like South Carolina should not lose to a school like Appalachian State at home. So that was a bad loss. Good for App State, bad for South Carolina. And then, as typical, you got your doors blown off by the Clemson Tigers again. So it was bad already because Carolina wasn't just losing games; they were losing in embarrassing fashion. So a huge faction of the fan base through spring ball and then into the COVID situation and into the summer was already like, excuse my language here, boys, this guy sucks. We don't need him anymore. And then they lost to Tennessee and they lost to Florida. They found a way to beat Auburn, and then again doors blown off in Baton Rouge. They were just humiliated at home by A&M, 48-3. And then what happened the other day on the road at Ole Miss, where again just embarrassing to give up that many points and yards. So they were ready, Greg. They were ready. They were antsy. They were angry, and a lot of them blamed Ray Tanner for hiring this guy in the first place, but wondered why it took so long. So any support Will had eroded, and it was untenable.
It'll be very interesting to see what avenue they end up going down. I think you make it a great point about why at this time they make the firing because of the early signing period that's now happening in December. But I don't know. I don't know if they're going to get, I hope they get who they want, but man, that's a quick turnaround to be able to get that coach.
Jay, a guy that we're obviously very familiar with, do you expect Hugh Freeze to be one of the leading candidates?
Yeah, I do actually, and I wonder where, and I'm going to ask that today. Now, look, I know Coach Tanner isn't going to give us any specific names today, but I will, in our journalistic best, boys, I will try to at least frame a question that would be about Hugh Freeze. The things about Hugh, both personally and professionally, are well known. A lot of the things about the NCAA troubles, the NCAA itself said, look, some of this was Hugh's fault. Some of this clearly was not. He didn't get popped as hard as some coaches do. The personal thing is the personal thing, and how much that matters may be up to the individual, including the individual of school president and school athletics director. I don't know that part of it. That may matter to some who are more morally inclined, if you will. And again, I'm not here to do any of that. Mm-hmm. There's no doubt that Hugh Freeze, I think, could do a fine job at South Carolina and may appreciate the opportunity to get that kind of second chance, not unlike what Will Muschamp had. Mm-hmm. But therein, guys, lies the rub, perhaps, does South Carolina need for the second consecutive hire within a 5-year frame to go for the so-called second chance SEC head coach? I don't know how much that will matter, but I'm certain that Hugh is going to get a good look.
He is Jay Phillips, host of the Halftime Show on 107.5 The Game in Columbia, South Carolina. You can follow him on Twitter at jphillips1075. Stay well, my friend. Always good to talk to you.
Yeah, you too, boys. Happy holidays. We'll talk soon.
Same here. Thanks, Jay.
Yeah, that's. I would think that he would absolutely have to be on your list, and it's just what you can stomach as far as the off the field stuff. But I would think you at least have to take a look at him if you're South Carolina. Golfers, if you want to play like a pro without traveling the world, you could head all over to Summer Avenue. 5484 Summer Avenue to be exact. That's where you'll find Golf and Games Family Park with their Top Tracer range system that allows you to play virtual courses. Hey, we've done a lot of stuff virtually here in the last 6 to 8 months. Well, you can play virtual courses like Pebble Beach, St. Andrews, Spyglass, and many, many more over at Golf and Games Family Park. Plus, if you just want to go work on your game, you can do that as well because you can get your data back like distance, carry, ball speed, and more immediately after every shot you hit on the range over there at Golf and Games Family Park. If you want to play in the long drive or closest to the pin, you can do that. You want to play some competitions with family and friends, you can do that as well. It's all with the Top Tracer range system at Golf and Games Family Park, 5484 Summer Avenue. Play like a pro at Golf and Games Family Park.
Another American Conference game has been postponed. We'll tell you which one. Also, the NBA schedule may not be out yet, but the NBA schedule breakdown is. We'll discuss. This is Middays on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1 and 98.5 FM.
Grab a seat for a happy hour with John Harden.
Passengers will please fasten their seatbelts.
On Sports 56 Happy Hour. Weekdays from 1 to 3 on Sports 56, 98.5 FM and 96.1 FM.
All 36-month leases, $31.49 due at signing, 0 security deposit, 10,000 miles per year, 20 cents excess mileage, $650 acquisition fee, Forte, LE 242,174, MSRP 20,505, sold, M7755, 682, MSRP 20,315, K5, MG 03199, MSRP 25,725, K900, MSRP 65,610, L60 26,907, L60 21,220, includes all rebates and incentives, PF 695, excludes tax on license with approved credit offer valid through 11/30/2020, dealer stock only, warranty is a limited powertrain warranty, see Kia.com or retailer for details.
It's time for the Kia Holiday Sales Event and time to command the season in your new ride from Gossett Kia South on Mount Moriah. 2020 Kia Forte, just $133 a month lease. 2021 Kia Soul, only $148 a month lease. Plus 2021 Kia K5, only $189 a month lease. And they're all 36 months, $31.49 due at signing. And don't miss the 2020 Kia K900. We got it at $10,000 off MSRP. So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia, 2680 Mount Moriah or KiaMoriah.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Hey, we understand. With everything that's happening, with all the new regulations, maybe you're not ready to come and hang out at Sweetgrass to catch a ball game. We want you to, we really do. And we're open for you to do just that. But we're also offering the next best thing, the new Sweetgrass Tailgate Party Packs. Whether it's wings, house-made dips, sliders, or other Sweetgrass tasty treats, all you have to do is call us or go to sweetgrassmemphis.com to order just what you're dreaming of when you're dreaming of watching sports and enjoying some sweet, sweet Sweetgrass.
O'Reilly. Don't miss See Better, Drive Safer month at O'Reilly Auto Parts with great deals on wiper blades, headlight bulbs, windshield washer fluid, and more. Get a $15 gift card after mail-in rebate with the purchase of select premium wiper blades. Plus, earn double O Rewards points. Get ready for the weather ahead during See Better, Drive Safer month at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Make your next grill your last grill with the Big Green Egg. You can smoke, bake, roast, sear, or grill. It's amazing. Ceramic will not rust, but will provide the best radiant heat, keeping your food crisp on the outside and juicy on the inside. Just ask Big Green Egg users how great the food is. And it comes with a lifetime guarantee. Make your next grill your last grill by purchasing a Big Green Egg at any of the following stores: Cordova Ace Hardware, Hamilton's Fireplace and Grills, Garden Spas and Pool, Germantown Hardware, and East Memphis Ace Hardware.
I'm not going very far.
It's too uncomfortable.
I'm in a hurry. Sometimes I just forget.
There's no such thing as a good excuse for not buckling up. You're not only putting yourself at risk of injury or death, it could also cost you lots of money. Cops are writing tickets, so why take the risk? Do the smart thing and start buckling up every trip, day or night. Click it or ticket. Paid for by NHTSA.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays. This hour is brought to you by Action247.com. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Cause I'm a picker, I'm a grinner, I'm a lover, and I'm a sinner.
So we are now up to 10 postponements or cancellations for this week. Another one just happened moments ago. So this is the third straight week we've had double digits. 10 a couple of weeks ago, 15 last weekend, and now we're already up to 10, and it's only Wednesday. Navy and South Florida is off the board. So earlier this morning it was SMU and Houston, and now it's Navy and South Florida. Navy hasn't played since the Millard Fillmore administration.
October 31st, Halloween, was their last game. This is their third straight game that they've had postponed. So they've now got to make up the game against Tulsa, the game against Memphis, game against South Florida. Theoretically, those are the three games that they've had postponed here. And so that I was just looking.
I think it's impossible, though, Eli, to make up all those games.
Here's an interesting thing. I was just looking at this. So Tulsa plays tomorrow night against Tulane. Could you, since Tulsa's playing on Thursday and Navy is now not playing on Saturday, could you play Tulsa Navy like next Tuesday and then have Navy come back and play again on Saturday?
No way.
And make up two of those games. Well, it's the same as playing a Saturday-Thursday.
Wait, you're talking about tomorrow, which is Thursday of this week, then Tuesday of next week, and then Saturday of next week?
Yeah.
3 games in 9 days?
I mean, we make these kids play a Saturday and then come back on a Thursday.
Yeah, but that's 2. This would be 3 games.
Okay, but if you're going to make up games, it's going to require this stuff. I mean,
I don't know how much testing you do for COVID-19 within that period of time. On the surface, again, this is just you asking me, I would say no. It's impossible. It's impossible.
Because I would thought Navy make up 2 games in this next, basically week.
Would they even want to do that? I mean, that's
well, if the conference wants to get these games played, I'm just saying they're running. You don't have time. I mean, now Navy has 3 games postponed, and they've got Army sitting there on December 12th. So you don't. If Navy don't make up 3 games, they're not going. You don't have time to do it.
I completely understand what you're saying, and they would love to make up all these games, but you're going to get to a point here where you just can't. And I don't know if they're going to be able to. And again, we're efforting Mike Oresco for tomorrow's show. Hopefully, the way as busy as he is, he may not be able to come on the show. But what would happen if the American Conference and Mike Oresco came up with what you just came up with and said, this is what we're going to do, and Navy said, no, we're not? What would happen there? Navy said, there's no way.
I don't know why Navy certainly shouldn't have the problem with it. Tulsa would be the one that would have the problem with it. Tulsa's the one playing the 3 games. Navy's only playing 2.
Well, whoever's playing the 3 games. Who's ever playing the 3 games in 9 days, 9 or 10 days, whatever that is. I think that's absolutely impossible. But again, the challenges that lie ahead for all these conferences and trying to reschedule these games. In the meantime, the NFL team gets a COVID-19 positive test. They isolate the person. They game on. The games continue.
Well, that's because, the SEC is using those things, the technology that the NFL's using. I mean, when you have those little things that tell you who has been in close contact, it's easy because you just go through the contact, and it tells you got to. Okay, this guy was. In most, like in the American Conference, if a guy tests positive, they're guessing on who's been in close contact with him.
I completely understand why, and I know what the NFL has with the testing as opposed to college, but it's just, again, on the surface, the NFL trudges through. They have all their games. College football, boom, COVID-19 positive test. There is no football game. Did you see this yesterday? Another Blake bomb. I call it a Blake bomb. Woj bomb. You got a Blake Topmeyer bomb. He's the one who had the news the other day about the assistant coaches for Tennessee that refused to take a pay cut. By the way, Jay Graham and T. Martin, both former Tennessee stars, they both did take pay cuts. They are assistant coaches on the staff of Jeremy Pruitt. But the other coaches, including Jim Chaney, the offensive coordinator, decided they were not going to take a pay cut. So he had that story. And then he broke the story yesterday that Phil Fulmer received a 2-year contract extension in May, and nobody knew about it. So you got Fulmer got a 2-year contract extension. He gave Pruitt the contract extension and increase in salary. And then you had all the assistant coaches say no to a reduction in their salary, all during COVID-19.
It's
not a good look, right?
It's not a good look at all. I mean, when you give your AD an extension, and don't ever announce that, like it's clear that you weren't really proud of the idea that you gave it to him, so you're trying to keep it a secret. I mean, that's rather obvious.
Right.
And then when that guy gives the football coach an extension at that during, I guess before they agreed to it before he got his extension. But and then all of this stuff looks really. I still don't understand, quite frankly, why the coaches had the choice. Like, to me, if you're cutting the salaries, cut the salaries.
Exactly.
Like, this isn't an option, dude. We're in a pandemic. I don't know if you guys realize this. We're in a pandemic right now. We're losing a bunch of money. You don't get to tell us you're not taking a cut. You're taking a cut.
Well, it's probably detailed in the contract. I'm sure in the fine print, it addresses things, not COVID-19 necessarily, but addresses things like that. So it has to be approved by that person. All these coaches' contracts favor the coaches. It used to be where you thought that it favored the school. But, I mean, Greg Marshall, through negotiations, is able to exit with $7.5 million after what he was alleged to have done. Will Muschamp obviously didn't do that, but he didn't perform the way they hoped he would as a coach with wins and losses, and he's going to get a hefty return from what they owe him in his contract. The contracts favor the coaches. These are good negotiators led by our very own Jimmy Sexton here in Memphis, who does an amazing job putting together a contract that certainly favors the coaches.
Got a text to the First Bank text line says, don't think Hugh Freeze would take South Carolina. More likely Tennessee or possibly Vanderbilt. I don't know, why nobody would. Vanderbilt? Why would you take Vanderbilt over South Carolina? I don't like the South Carolina job, but no coach with any opportunity is going to take Vanderbilt.
That's just stupid. But going back to what Jay Phillips said, that he would prefer a coach that really wants the South Carolina job, not just a job in the SEC. And there is a distinction between the two. That's a really good point he makes, and that's why he brought up a name like Billy Napier. And who else did he bring up? Shane
Beamer.
Shane Beamer. But Hugh Freeze is not a guy who's been hankering for a job at South Carolina. Most of the coaches that end up with the jobs in the Power 5 conferences weren't necessarily looking at that job specifically, but that opportunity came up and they seized the moment. And that would be the situation with Hugh. But I think the point that the texter made that is accurate is I don't think it's a slam dunk that Hugh would necessarily, because he talked about, again, going back to Jay's interview, about doing it now so that they can have a little stability to get a coach in by the time the December early recruiting period comes along. How are you going to do that, even with somebody like Hugh Freeze, who's at Liberty, Billy Napier at Louisiana? They got games to still be played. They got bowls. And I know coaches have bailed on teams before, but I don't know if necessarily Hugh, I don't think it is a slam dunk. So I agree with that part of the text.
Well,
but I do
not
not
agree.
agree
dunk that he would take
it.
I
don't agree with the Vanderbilt thing.
I mean, it's not a great job, but so I don't know that he would take it or not. He might wait for a better opportunity, but I mean, if he's waiting for Tennessee, we don't know when Tennessee might come available. Again, they just gave Jeremy Pruitt an extension, so I don't know when Tennessee might actually come available. This hour of the program is brought to you by Action247.com. They've got the app now for the iPhone. Of course, they've always had the one for the Android as well, so you can download the Action 24/7 app to your phone. And again, they'll match your first deposit 100% up to $100. Use the promo code WHBQ100. That's all capitals with the WHBQ. And start placing those bets immediately. Action247.com is a website built by Tennesseans for Tennesseans, and you can get all the action you need at Action247.com.
Jerry Palm will kick off hour number 2, talk some college football, college basketball with JP, and then we'll dive into the NBA. As I mentioned, the schedule hasn't been released, but the breakdown of the schedule has, and it's pretty interesting. Also, the trade rumors that are out. We'll talk NBA draft, which takes place tonight. That's all coming up in hour number 2. This is Middays on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1 and 98.5 FM.
I'm a big fan of Town Village, and there is always something to do year-round. Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. Looking for a great place to retire, but you still have a very active lifestyle? Then visit Town Village. Only requirements that you're 55 plus. Prices per month starting at $24.50. The Gourmet Chef welcomes you to visit our restaurant and bistro. Package includes 3 complimentary meals per day, maid service, free local transportation, monthly coffee club, theme dinner parties, lots of fun. Visit us and call Daniel or Bo at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home. Town Village Audubon Park.
The Black Friday sales event is on at Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat on Covington Pike, and we're going to blow you away with what you save. 2020 Jeep Renegade Latitude 4-wheel drive IAHS top safety pick. We Gossett at $20,736 or $259 a month. Or power up your game in a 2020 Dodge Charger, $24,320 or $299 a month. And get rammed up in a 2020 Ram 1500 Tradesman Crew Cab 4x2, $29,656 or $396 a month. And 2020 Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo 4x2, $29,878 or $398 a month. Drive past the rest. Come to the best. Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat 1901 Covington Pike. Online, GossettMotorCars.net.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All finance through Chrysler, 3,500 cash down, 75 months at 4.11 APR. Renegade, LPM 02132, MSRP 26,580. Charger, LH 167053, MSRP 31490. Tradesman, LG 29329, MSRP 37855. Cherokee, LC 403192, MSRP 35495. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695 excludes tax title and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 11/30/2020 with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
Case IH is a proud supporter of the Mississippi Farm Bureau, and thanks to a membership benefits partnership, Mississippi Farm Bureau members receive a discount of up to $500 on every qualifying Case IH tractor and piece of equipment you purchase. This discount may be used with other promotions, rebates, or offers. So join Mid-South Ag Equipment and the Mississippi Farm Bureau and pocket up to $500 in savings. Call Mid-South Ag at 662-890-3141 to get your discount today.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. The storms we've had over the past several months have been devastating to our communities. The rainy season is ahead. You may have not even noticed the dripping in your attic, water stains throughout your home, or even worse, mold and mildew. Please call Brian Elder Roofing and we will send out our project managers to assess any damage. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. We will measure your roof from outer space. 0% for 60 months, even no payments till 2022 are available with approved credit. If you've noticed missing shingles, water stains, leaks in your roof, call us before you call your insurance company at 867-0303. That's 867-0303, and we will provide a free, thorough inspection of your roof's condition.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Buy your next car or truck at Streamline Auto Smart. Your next smart decision. All credit welcome. Drive off in your new, low-mileage, pre-owned car or truck. From low-end cars to the most luxurious sports car. Ask about the 48-hour vehicle locator. Let Streamline Auto Smart do the looking for you. Close your deal within 1 hour. No waiting. It's quick and easy at Streamline Auto Smart. Your next smart decision. 2558 Mount Moriah. Call Streamline Auto Smart. 901-235-8845. Your next smart decision.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, W253DF Memphis, and WIVG Tunica Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, back to Sports 56 Middays. This hour of Sports 56 Middays is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers at 4900 Poplar. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Well, welcome back, everybody. 11:04 is the time. Hour 2 is indeed brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers. The holidays just around the corner. Christmas is coming. What makes a great gift? Jewelry. 4900 Poplar Avenue between Mendenhall and St. Elmo is where James Gaddis Jewelers is located. They've been serving Memphians and Mid-Southerners for over 23 years. Check them out on the web at gaddisjewelers.com. Just stop by or give them a call at 901-767-9648. And please tell them you heard it here on Sports 56 Middays. We are in the Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40, where the holidays at home sale is going on right now. Speaking of Christmas, some of these things would be great gifts. How about a pool table or a game table, arcade, massage chair, a pool or a spa? You can check them all out at Family Leisure. When you do, ask for an official Sports 56 mask while supplies last at Family Leisure. It's Wednesday. It's time for Jerry Palm.
It's time for Sports 56 Middays Weekly Chat with Jerry Palm, college football and basketball writer for CBSSports.com. Here are Greg, Eli, and Jerry.
Somebody, can anybody find me? Somebody to love.
He is Jerry Palm, CBSSports.com. You can follow him on Twitter at JPPalmCBS. Catch him every Wednesday during both the college football and basketball seasons here on Sports 56 Middays. And who knows, Jerry, it could be all 12 months. We never know with the schedule how long it will go. How you doing?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I noticed here on your last few tweets here on Twitter, ladies and gentlemen, that Jerry's playing schedule maker. You pointed out that SMU and Houston have a common open date on December 12th. Navy and USF each are free on December 5th. Of course, if you've missed it, folks, both games this Saturday, SMU, Houston, Navy, USF, have been postponed. So you're trying to help out in your own little way, aren't you, Jerry?
Just pointing out, when there's availability, and we've gotten to the point of the season where there's only a few weeks left.
Right.
Finding availability is going to be hard for any of these makeup games. The ACC shuffled a schedule around earlier this week because of problems with Miami, and one of those games that they were going to miss was Wake Forest next week. So they now Wake Forest this week was playing Duke, but next week it's supposed to play Louisville, and now Wake Forest has got a problem, so that game may not happen. There's really only so much you can do with a limited amount of time left.
It's enough to make trying to keep track of it all. Everything else is enough to make your mind explode.
Yeah, I'm spending a lot more time doing that than I would prefer.
Right.
We're up to 10 games this week, 35 games the last 3 weeks, counting this week, that have been suspended or canceled.
It's getting worse, right? Which matches
worse.
What's happening in the country.
Exactly, and there's no reason to think it would be any different. If it's bad in the general public, it's not going to be good in college football and college basketball, which starts next week. You're going to see interruptions there too until this gets under some semblance of control.
Yeah, and we'll talk some college basketball a little bit later on in the show. I want to get your thoughts on what the NCAA is going to try to do with the tournament. But the Pac-12, according to some reports that are out there, is considering letting teams play non-conference opponents. We were talking about this earlier, Eli and I, and it makes sense if you're having postponements and you can't play just to be able to get out there and play football if you're a healthy team. But it is kind of strange when the Pac-12 waited to start their season late, basically a 6-week schedule, 6 conference games, and now they're looking to shuffle and do whatever they can to actually play some football.
Yeah, and I think they understand how important it is in terms of trying to have enough games to make an impression on the committee for their teams. And now, so far, the favorites, USC and Oregon, have not had a problem, but you never know when they will. And I think giving them an opportunity to just go out and play anybody, in the event that one of those teams loses an opponent, is probably a good idea. I don't think that plan has been fully approved yet. I think the president still has to approve it, but it's the coaches and ADs have. I know.
So, in your latest projections, you do have Oregon in the playoff with Ohio State,
Correct.
Clemson, and Alabama. So, you believe they'll go undefeated still?
Yes, and that's going to be a requirement for the Pac-12. They're not going to get a one-loss team in the playoff, just in part because of the perception of the league. But I still don't think they're going to leave out a major conference champion that's undefeated. So 7 games, 9 games, however many games it ends up being, if they're undefeated, I think they're going to get in the playoff.
And you with this, do you have Notre Dame just losing that championship game to Clemson but getting knocked
Correct.
out because of the undefeated?
Yes. because there isn't room for both of them, and Clemson's the conference champion. And conference champion matters. It's part of the criteria. It's not, they're not picking the 4 best conference champions, but it is part of the criteria. Head-to-head is part of the criteria, and honestly, that's all they've got to work with this year. Everything else is eye test. You're going to look at someone's schedule, and you're going to guess. You're going to have an opinion how strong it is. You're not going to have any numbers to back it up. There isn't going to be any numbers to back anything up this year.
Has Larry Scott and the powers that be in the Pac-12 come down with any type of mandate like they did in the Big Ten about how many games you need to play or the percentage of games that are canceled to make it to the championship game?
I believe they have a similar rule for them. I think I saw something like that. I can't swear by it, and I haven't got it in front of me, but I think I remember seeing something similar in the Pac-12 that you had to play a certain number of games to be eligible for the conference championship.
Yeah, it's interesting because I'm not going to argue with what you're saying about conference champions, especially an undefeated Power 5 champion that has never been left out of the playoff. Yet I wonder what's going to go through the minds of these committee members, the playoff committee members, who, by the way, are meeting in person, which still amazes me that they're not going to do Zoom meetings. I think they'll change. I think they'll change that. But what will be their criteria when they go, okay, well, let's see. Let's say Oregon misses a game, goes undefeated, so they'd be 5-0 plus 1 for the championship game, 6-0, and Clemson goes 10-1 or whatever it is, whoever put in the other side, how they're going to look at that and kind of gauge, even though they shouldn't be looking at just the pure numbers of games played, I think it's human nature that they will.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, it's, I usually take your human nature stuff and tell you to shove it.
You've done that a few times, haven't you, Jerry?
But this time, human nature might be all they have to go on. I mean, really, they're not going to have data to back anything up.
Right.
But if they're not going to, here's the thing though. If they're not going to say you have a minimum to play a minimum number of games to get in our ranking and get in the playoff, because it really is about being in the rankings. They can't just say you have to play 6 games to finish in the top 4. And we can't vote you above 5, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to vote. You have to play. If they're going to set a minimum, it's going to be a minimum to get considered for anything, but for any of the rankings at all. So not just the playoff, but the New Year's 6 games. Obviously they're champions eligible, but they're not going to be ranked. So it's a slippery slope. But if you're not going to set a standard, then you just have to be able to judge them on what they've done, not how many they've done.
Right, because it seems like they're steering away from that.
But it would be it's interesting in the thought and in with your projections, which I agree. I mean, I think if you all go to you talk about you got to look at what they've done. That the one team who actually beat one of those playoff teams and then turned around and lost to that team gets left out when they would have the best win of anybody in the country.
Maybe, yeah, I know that's unfortunate.
Well,
but it's a 4-team playoff, so what are you going to do?
Well, it's funny. Yesterday, the ESPN had their little panel doing the prediction of the college football playoff committee. First rankings come out next week?
Yes.
It's okay. So they did kind of like just even though it's not out, their own thoughts.
I do that too, by the way.
No, well, you're the best, man. You're the best.
I had a column yesterday doing something where I predicted what it would look like this week if it were.
Well, and I'll
again, actually talk to you about that. That's interesting. You brought that. I was looking at yours.
Let me finish my thought here before I forget, though. But Jerry does it and does a great job. We know that, CBSSports.com. But these guys over here with Kirk Herbstreit and those guys, so they put together like their top 6. And Herbstreit, and this is to my point that I just made, and we talked about human nature. Herbstreit ranks Florida ahead of Texas A&M. And they played head-to-head. They actually have data. They played head-to-head. He ranks Florida over A&M, and he said, well, just look at the eye test of what Florida has done the last few weeks since that game. They're destroying teams. I'm like, come on.
But that's not how the committee thinks. That's how Herbstreit thinks.
Right, but it just blew my mind to think that, like, wait a minute here. You have some data. You actually, in a year where data is going to be hard to come by, like you said, they actually have data.
They have an actual honest-to-God head-to-head result.
Right.
if those two teams are sitting there with one loss, the committee is not going to put Florida ahead of A&M unless Florida wins the SEC.
Right.
Then they'll do it.
All bets are off on the champion.
Yeah, but as long as they're both sitting there with one loss, and that you've got a head-to-head result, and it's true they've destroyed teams the last few weeks. So what?
Mm-hmm.
That's great. That means that they can be right behind A&M until A&M loses or Florida wins the SEC.
Yeah, and the rest of the guys had them behind. So,
and I get that point, but
that's the thing. But these guys aren't thinking like committee people. They're not thinking like the committee thinks.
They're thinking like AP voters. That's what they're thinking of. They're thinking like AP voters.
Yeah, well, they're thinking like AP voters.
Right.
Which is fine, but it's insignificant.
Exactly.
And I certainly understand it, but it also is not outlandish to say that a team who fumbled in their final drive going to win the game and the other team kicked the game-winning field goal at home, to say that the team that was on the road and fumbled and may have been on their way to win the game is better than that team.
Yeah, but how else do you compare if you don't look at head-to-head? I mean, I'm saying if the records were all the same and it came down to what criteria you had and one team beat the other team, I don't know where else to go, man.
And the only other way that you could, if you go back to the first year, with TCU and Baylor beat TCU and was behind TCU all the way until the final ballot.
Right.
And it was because Baylor's non-conference strength of schedule dragged their entire strength of schedule down so far that there was a significant difference between Baylor and TCU in the strength of schedule. And eventually Baylor, TCU, after they played conference games and things evened out, because their non-conference schedule wasn't that great either, they eventually evened out to the point where Baylor got ahead of them. That's not going to be the case here because they're both playing SEC games every week.
Right.
So there's not going to be a significant difference in strength of schedule between those two.
But if Florida in the SEC championship game loses on a last-second field goal to Alabama, we still can't rank. They can't be ahead of Texas A&M because A&M beat them?
No, not with two losses they wouldn't be. No, because they would have both lost to the same team, and then Florida would have lost to A&M.
I don't. The idea that a team losing by a field goal on the road because they fumbled on their final drive, and to say, well, they can't be better than them. You can't. And nobody can have the opinion that they're better than them.
That's like NFL playoffs. That's like the NFL playoffs. The team wins on a last-second field goal, and you go, the other team deserves to move on in the playoffs because we felt they were better.
What you're saying, though, Eli, is that you would assume that they'd win if the game wasn't on the road. They can't assume that.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying to say it's like outlandish to have the opinion that Florida's better than A&M. I don't think that's outlandish.
Nobody said it was outlandish.
You could rank Florida ahead of A&M, and I don't think that's a real issue.
I don't know how you can right now. I'm not
the
saying
committee can't.
Yeah, look, I don't know. I'm not saying the thought of like where he's coming from is outlandish. That the next time they meet, Florida wouldn't beat Texas A&M. I'm just saying right now with the data you have. How do you rank them ahead? I don't get it. But anyway, like you said, Jerry, it is insignificant.
So, Jerry, in the way you had are these your rankings or this is what you thought the committee would do?
Yes, what I thought the committee would do.
Okay, so you have
my rankings would be my rankings are definitely different.
Yeah, okay, and I thought that's what it was. And you say you have Cincinnati at 9 and BYU at 12. Which once next week we'll find out a lot more because when we actually see the rankings and we see how they judge those teams, we'll get a better idea.
We got another set of games too.
Yes, exactly, and we'll have a better idea of what they think of those teams. But it's if they were like this, and you had Cincinnati behind, A&M, Florida, Miami, among others, like it's going to be, as we think, virtually impossible for Cincinnati to get there.
It's impossible anyway. I mean, it would take a pretty unique set of circumstances for Cincinnati to get to 4. But those circumstances involve, because look, Cincinnati's going to be behind every major conference undefeated team, almost every major conference one-loss team. And if Florida loses to Alabama in the championship game, they're going to be behind Florida too.
Yeah.
So how do they get to 4? Without a bunch of upsets happening, I don't see how that happens. This year is not going to be different in the sense that, the group of 5 teams are going to suddenly get a whole lot more respect versus the majors. In fact, it might even get less because none of these group of 5 teams had a big non-conference game to hang their hat on, where they can prove themselves. They're just beating each other up in their conferences. I don't think their conferences are going to get any more respect this year than they did any other year, because none of these conferences were able to prove themselves outside their league.
Liberty, they beat Virginia Tech, baby, and they got NC State this week.
They beat the middle-of-the-pack ACC team, and they've got another one this week.
Hey, what about
that? Doesn't make them Clemson.
No, I'm just kidding. But what about? Let me ask you this: in the Pac-12 now that we talked about, and it's not yet official, but that they could possibly play a non-conference opponent if their schedules were decimated by COVID-19 with opponents. How about if BYU, let's just say for the sake of this discussion, BYU was able to play a USC or an Oregon? I don't know if those teams would want to play BYU, but let's say they were able to schedule that. How much could that help either team, either side of it, USC or Oregon?
Because their schedule is pretty soft.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the best team that they've played is Houston. Because when they played Boise played their third-string quarterback for most of the game. So, I mean, arguably the best team they played is Houston, and Houston is a 500 team in the American. So, it's Boise needs a game, and they just don't have anything. And I doubt very seriously Oregon or USC would play BYU unless they really just felt like they had no choice and they had to play somebody.
Okay.
But if I'm going to play BYU, I'm not preparing for them on Thursday to play them on Sunday. Well, BYU wouldn't play on Sunday anyway, Saturday.
That's right.
Can't be doing that. I was interested that you had the way you had it in your projections from them, Indiana down at 13. Now, obviously, by the time the committee actually has to make rankings, they're going to get to see Indiana play Ohio State, so that's going to completely change things. But I was and I guess Indiana's got wins against opponents that you theoretically, if you just looked at the name, it's pretty good. But when you realize what those opponents are doing this year, it's not good at all.
The four teams that they have beaten, Rutgers, Michigan State, Michigan, and Penn State, have 3 wins combined, and 2 of those wins have come in that group. Michigan is the only team to beat a team outside of that group of 4, and that was their season-opening win at Minnesota, who's another pretty bad team in this league. It's like the top half of the league and the bottom half of the league. If the gap seems significant, although, I mean, we'll see. But as the season goes on, I mean, those 4 teams, they're all in the same division, so they're all going to play each other, a round robin, barring games getting canceled. So, it's but that division is upside down except for Ohio State at the top. But Indiana's a 3-touchdown underdog at Ohio State this week.
In a normal year, you say, hey, we've got wins over Michigan State, and Penn State. You'd be like, oh, my goodness gracious, like they got to be a top 5 team. Well, no.
But and I don't think it's going to happen, but if they were to upset Ohio State, how high would Indiana be?
I don't know how you would not put them right up there with the top 4.
They have to be, and they'd have to be ahead of Clemson because Clemson would have a loss.
Yeah, I'd probably put them ahead of Clemson.
Right? The Indiana win over Ohio State would be the best win out there, other than maybe Notre Dame's win over Clemson, but they did it without Trevor Lawrence.
And this is your human nature perception thing. You have to get past the idea that that's Indiana, right?
Well, if in the first 5 weeks of the season, I don't care what season it is, if in the first 5 weeks of the season, Indiana football has wins over Michigan, Michigan State, and Penn State and Ohio State, Tom Allen should have a statue built outside the stadium immediately.
Exactly.
Yeah, it probably would be up before the next game. Of course, they'd have to make it with Tinker Toys to do it that quickly, but still would be up. Yeah.
All right, got about
he's done a great job. Tom Allen.
He really has. It was sad to see his son get hurt and went over there and man, it was what a sight that was. All right, we've got about a minute, but I did want to pick your brain on the NCAA and the talk about a bubble-esque type of situation with the NCAA tournament and playing all the tournament games in the state of Indiana. What is your thought on that?
Yeah, really in the Indy metro area, although they might go as far away as Purdue or IU, each of which is about an hour from downtown Indy. Mm-hmm. I think it's the best that they can possibly do. It's a city that they know because that's their home, that they've worked with well in the past. They've got a ton of facilities available in Indianapolis for this. And it's not, a bigger scope event than the city of Indianapolis can handle. I mean, they've done things like, Pan Am games and stuff in the past. So if you're going to do something like this, and you can't do a true bubble, but what it the biggest thing it reduces everybody's travel, right? So you're not going from place to place and round to round. You just all go in one place, and then when you lose, you go home. So I think it's the best that they can probably do, and Indianapolis is definitely the best place to do it.
He is Jerry Palm, CBSSports.com. Check that out. Check out everything that Jerry is writing about college football and college basketball right there. And then follow him on Twitter at JPPalmCBS. Catch him every Wednesday during both the college football and college basketball seasons here on Sports 56 Middays. Thank you, Jerry. As always, great stuff. Stay well.
All right, take care.
You too. Landmark Construction and Emergency Services is one of our terrific sponsors, and I almost needed them this morning. I was telling these guys earlier before the show, had a little situation with an overflow of the toilet, and it just poured out water, and it wouldn't stop. I finally was able to cut it off and stop the darn thing, and, oh, man, mopping and towels and everything. It was an absolute mess, but I finally got it done. Now, that's a little bit of a headache, but there have been people that have run into nightmares with water damage, and that's what Landmark Construction and Emergency Services does. They extract that water. Water damage can be, as I said, a headache, but they will remove the standing water. The faster you can prevent the secondary damage, the better result you're going to get. Landmark Construction and Emergency Services specializes in water extraction. They have been a trusted name in the Mid-South for over 20 years. They're a Memphis-based company ready to serve your needs with their 24-hour emergency response. They're always on call, and they'll respond within an hour. They work with most insurance companies and are the official restoration contractor of the Memphis Tigers home team. Landmark Construction and Emergency Services can't prevent disasters in your home or at your business, but their water damage team will certainly respond quickly to minimize and restore the damage. Give them a call at 901-452-0390. That's 901-452-0390. Or online, check out the company at landmarkco.org. We're talking NBA next. This is Sports 56 Middays.
Let Dave Voloshin and Brett Nordsworthy take you home with Sports Time on Sports 56. Weekday afternoons from 3 to 6 on Sports 56, 98.5 and 96.1.
All 75 months at 2.99. Mirage LHO 10130 MSRP 16565. G4 LHF 12318 MSRP 17435. Outlander LZO 38819 MSRP 381. Outlander PEV qualifies for a 5,836 federal tax credit. Consult your tax advisor. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695 excludes tax filing license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 11/30/2020. Dealer stock only.
The 2020 year-end sales event is on at Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike. 2020 Mitsubishi Mirage. Buy for $11,100 or $99 a month. 43 MPG Highway. A Mirage you can't miss with 2020 G4, 41 MPG Highway, $139 a month, or buy for $12,435. Plus, crossover with 4x4 off-road capabilities with 74 MPG. 2020 Mitsubishi Outlander plug-in hybrid EV, $27,838 or $359 per month. And 10 years of confidence with Mitsubishi's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Get to Gossett Mitsubishi today, 1870 Covington Pike, or shop online at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Hi, this is Troy Five-Ash, owner of Five-Ash Roof Services. You've heard me talk about how we offer the best products, the best warranties, and the best services for years. Now let's talk about pricing. Pricing should never be the only reason you hire a contractor, but in today's world, pricing is always a consideration. So we suggest you get 2 or 3 estimates for your roof replacement from a reputable, licensed, and insured company, and then give us a call. If we can't beat your best price for a comparable roof system by more than $100, we'll give you $100. It's that simple. We are so sure we can offer you the best price, beating all other qualified companies, we will hand you $100 if we can't, and thank you for the opportunity. So give us a call. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? Make $100? Five-Ash Roof Services, a proud supporter of Tiger Athletics and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. Five-Ash Roof Services, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
There's an underdog story happening in America. In the moment they have the least, small businesses are giving the most. Well, Small Unites is making it simple for you to support their comeback. Find out how you can donate, shop, and share today at smallunites.org. Proudly sponsored by Capital One.
At Jason's Deli, you can stuff yourself full of great deli food that's healthy, fresh, and best of all, it's not expensive. Jason's Deli is all about choice. Whether you're looking for a gluten-free menu, vegetarian sandwiches, healthy kids' meals, or if you'd like to invent your sandwich via the build-your-own selections, Jason's Deli has you covered. And they only use fresh, wholesome ingredients. Choose from the club and specialty sandwiches, paninis, wraps, soups, salads, pastas, and much more. I love the cleanliness in the restaurant, the hospitality, and of course the cost. They have a huge salad bar and great soups, including Southwest chicken chili, fire roasted tortilla, organic vegetable, tomato basil, and many, many more. And if you're planning an event, their catering department is fantastic and can handle any size party. Go check out Jason's Deli's 4 locations. On Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, that's my favorite, on Germantown Parkway in Cordova, at Poplar and Highland, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch.
At First Bank Mortgage, their core purpose is to help you get to a better place. That better place may be a lower monthly payment, that vacation you thought was impossible, or getting into a home with a fenced backyard where your kids can play. To get into your better place, First Bank Mortgage makes decisions right here at home. Dedicated to helping you get to your better place, First Bank Mortgage. Call Daniel Mooney at 901-462-0145 today. NMLS 741022. Equal housing lender.
Hi, folks. Good news for bargain hunters and bandits from the Chevy Sheriff in Collierville. It's Western Trading Days at Sunrise Chevy. Over 500 Chevys and used cars in stock just in time for the Sunrise Low Price Rodeo. Factory rebates up to $7,500. Sunrise discounts high as $8,000. And don't forget, Sunrise specializes in secondary financing. Need a good body shop? Bring it to Sunrise. We work on all makes and models. Remember, you can bring your Chevy to Sunrise for service no matter where you bought it. Buy American and buy from Sunrise. Find new roads to the Sunrise Chevy Ranch. 385 in Houston Levy and Collierville. Chevy's cost less at Sunrise, partner.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays. This hour of Sports 56 Middays is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers at 4900 Poplar. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
The NBA announced yesterday that they're going to be dispersing the schedule for the upcoming season in 2 parts. It's a 72-game schedule this year. And they're going to announce the first portion of the schedule, I would imagine, once camps open up. But then they're going to hold off announcing the second part of the season until near the end of the first part, which is very unique, very unusual, very different because of the possibility of games that were postponed and had to be moved around and rescheduled. So instead of just putting out a blanketed schedule, that they can go ahead and make the changes necessary when they do the second part of the schedule. Again, it's pretty ingenious thinking when it comes down to it, not announcing everything at once. What do you think, Eli?
Yeah, it's the way of the times. I mean, I think you have to build that in there, and so understanding that there probably will be some suspended games that now you can decide how to work out that second part of the schedule. I think it works out very, very well, and is a very smart decision for them to do that.
Each team will play 3 games against each intra-conference opponent. So that's 42 total games. The league office has randomly decided within each division which team will host 2 of the 3 and which team will be away for 2 of the 3 games. Each team will play 2 games against each interconference opponent. That's 30 total, so that adds up to the 72. So again, there's your breakdown of the 72-game schedule. The first part of the schedule will be announced sometime during camp, and then the second part right before, well, actually towards the end of the first portion of the season.
Yeah, the first half will be December 22nd through March 4th. Then they will take an all-star break March 5th through the 10th, and they will start the second half on March 11th. That will go through May 16th, assuming they can get all of the games in during that time. And then they will do the play-in tournament for the 7th and 8th spots in each conference on May 18th through the 21st.
Yes, so they're going to do what we saw in the bubble. At least they're going to do it this upcoming season. Not sure if that'll be something that they'll continue to do for the future, but it was a pretty good hit as far as the play-in game. So you got the 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th teams and seeded teams in each conference that are involved. So you're battling basically for the last 2 playoff spots with 4 teams in a play-in.
Yeah, the 7th team will play will host the 8th team. And the winner of that one gets the 7th seed.
Is that a 1 game or a 2 out of 3?
That's just 1 game.
Okay.
And then the 9th and 10th teams will play as well, with the 9th team hosting the 10th team. The winner of the 9-10 game will travel to the loser of the 7-8 game, and the winner of that game gets the 8th seed.
Okay.
So the 7th and 8th teams basically get 2 games to win 1, whereas the 9-10 teams have to win 2 straight games in order to get in.
Okay. Makes sense. And that, again, it was fun in the bubble. We'll see how it's accepted as far as, the league, if they like it, the players. I'm sure to have a couple of more teams that are at least giving an opportunity or given an opportunity at the end, they're probably going to like it. I would think the fan base would like it. So maybe it's something that will stick down the road.
So it's the similar in the setup in that what they had in the bubble, and that the team with the 8th that was in the 8th spot had that advantage of they only had to win 1 out of 2 games, where the other team had to beat them twice in a row.
Right.
This is the same type thing, except for you would be playing a different team. If you lose the first game, you still get a second chance to win a game. It would just be against a different opponent.
NBA draft is tonight, I believe 7 Central, if I'm not mistaken. And we have teams that are maneuvering. They're positioning themselves. The Knicks have moved up in the draft. They acquired the number 23 pick from the Jazz as well. So they have 2 first-round picks, the Knicks do. There's a lot of things out there that are swirling around. There's a possible Warriors-Bulls trade where they would flip. They would swap the 2 and 4 picks. The Warriors own the 2. The Bulls own the 4 overall pick in the first round. But that the Warriors would give up the 2. They would also get Wendell Carter Jr. in return. Again, that's not a trade that has come to fruition yet. It's just a rumor. There's also some rumors out there involving the Rockets, who have been heavily in the news this last week with everything that's going on with Russell Westbrook and James Harden. I saw a story on a possible John Wall, Russell Westbrook trade with Washington and Houston. I know there's some Bradley Beal rumors out there. So a lot of things that are happening right now, Eli, that I would imagine, a few of these things could occur if there's draft picks involved, would occur before the draft. And you're going to get a number of teams tonight that have already made trades that will actually be selecting, and they're selecting for the team they traded with.
Yeah, because some of those trades cannot be finalized until after the draft. So they have to actually make the pick themselves, and because they can't trade the pick. They can trade the player after they pick him, but they aren't allowed to trade the pick if they've already traded last year's first-round pick or next year's first-round pick. So they can trade the player, but they cannot trade the actual pick. The Chicago one doesn't. I don't really understand that, because I thought Chicago actually liked Wendell Carter and liked him quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see. It would surprise me that they would like somebody that much that they would want to move up 2 spots to get them and give up Wendell Carter to do it.
Does Billy Donovan like him?
Well, I don't know. I mean,
that's the thing. You got a new coach right now that may, he's only seen him from afar, except
Wendell
for when they
Carter
played
hasn't
him.
Done anything for me to say like they should be giving up on him. Like, he's been pretty good.
Well,
to move up 2 spots, like, is there really, like, do they like James Wiseman that much? You don't think Carter and the 4th pick, whoever you draft at 4, is better than just the number 2 pick?
Yeah. See, here's my thought is that they are coveting James Wiseman. That's the only reason why. First of all, you're getting rid of one of your young bigs if this trade were to come to fruition in Wendell Carter Jr. So I think they're eyeing James Wiseman. There's been a lot of talk, either Anthony Edwards or LaMelo Ball as the number 1 pick. Right now, the betting favorite is Anthony Edwards. And with him going to Minnesota, if that happens, unless Minnesota trades their first pick, and that's a possibility, then I could see where Chicago would be willing to do that, because they think James Wiseman could be more than just a starter in the league, that he could be maybe a star. Who knows what teams think of certain players. And I would think if you're moving up and willing to give up on Wendell Carter Jr. this early, then it's James Wiseman who you covet. Because I don't think you're doing that to move up. How about if it's LaMelo Ball that you wanted and he went 1? Then you'd be screwed. Or if it was Anthony Edwards you wanted and he went 1. There's no talk about Minnesota taking Wiseman. So that's why it has to be Wiseman that they're zeroing in on.
Well, not necessarily. I mean, they could be wanting one of those other guys, and they just wouldn't do the trade until that guy is available at number 2.
That's a possibility.
I mean, they don't have to make the trade until they know their guy's available.
That's right. That's a possibility. But if there was something that happened earlier today, then to me it just tells you it's James Wiseman. But I still think it would be Wiseman because again, you're giving up on a young big in Wendell Carter Jr. Like you said, he was okay. When I watched him play, he did okay. So you're giving up on him. I'm thinking you're wanting a big in return, and that's Wiseman. I really think James Wiseman is going to be really good in the NBA. I'm surprised, but I guess because you didn't see him. He played 3 freaking games with the Tigers. And then individual workouts and things of that nature, Zoom stuff. You didn't see James Wiseman. Out of sight, out of mind. But I think he's a freak. I really do. I'm not saying that I think he's going to be a superstar or anything like that, but I think he could be a really good player. And I wouldn't count out, like, down the road that James Wiseman could be an all-star. Anthony Edwards I do not like at all. I don't like him. Not personally. I just don't like his game. LaMelo Ball I think could be pretty fun to watch and could be good. And then the rest of the guys, I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know the guy from Israel. Toppin I like. I've seen him a number of times. I like him as a good rotation player on a team. I do like Halliburton from Iowa State. That's one guy I really like. And you never go wrong. You can never go wrong with those Kentucky guys. Like Maxey. I think Maxey will be good. But I saw a mock yesterday. You know, you were asking me yesterday during 2.5 questions. You were giving me some prop bets. And I just the only person I could think of off the top of my head when I was talking about seniors, right? The over-under, 1.5, whatever. And I said, I got a feeling there'll be 2 picked. I think somebody will get picked late in the first round that right now is slated as a second-round guy, and he'll move up because they like the person, solid, really good player in college, and they think will be a solid pro. And Cassius Winston was the name I came up with. Then I saw a mock last night, and I forget which mock it was, but it was Cassius Winston going 28th or 29th. I think when push comes to shove late in the first round, you're thinking, well, here's a guy who's proven himself for a number of years at the collegiate level. We'll be willing to take a shot with him. But it's going to be a real – look, they're always crapshoots. We know they're always crapshoots. But last year you had Zion Williamson and John Morant. We just don't have that this year.
No, I think that Anthony Edwards, with just his physical tools, could end up being fantastic. But it's weird. He had the quote talking about how the fact that he doesn't really like basketball a whole lot. Like, if he could get drafted by the NFL, he would leave basketball immediately. Like, it's weird. Like, that your agent would even let a quote like that come out before the draft when you're about to be a top pick. But if he can come in and be focused and really put the work in. I mean, the dude's gifted physically, unbelievably gifted. He needs to become a better shooter, but if he could put the work in, and it's not like he's got a broken jump shot or something, I think he could end up being absolutely fantastic. I just don't know. That's the whole part, is you got to judge. Does he have that in him? Does he have the work ethic? Does he really want it badly enough? Same thing with LaMelo Ball. Like,
he wants it bad enough.
LaMelo Ball, I think, thinks he is. I don't know. Yeah, he wants it, but I don't know if he wants to work to get it. Like, he thinks he's there. I mean, he's just.
Well, he'll be humbled.
His dad's been telling him his whole life he's the greatest thing ever, just like all the rest of them. So, I mean, does he really want to put in the work to do it?
Well, I think he'll be humbled very quickly. And his brother, Lonzo Ball, I think has handled it pretty darn good. The oldest brother, the eldest, who had to deal with the father more than anybody, I think has handled it pretty well. I don't look at Lonzo Ball as a guy who thinks he knows it all and is the best. Yeah, LaMelo Ball's got that.
But remember that they have different personalities.
They do. But but it's not always a bad thing to have that cockiness, as long as you can come with the goods. And if he can't come with the goods, I mean, he will be embarrassed right off the bat. Look, you realize if you're going to be knocked down a few rungs, I think you'll quickly realize that maybe you need a different mindset. But I like him. I always liked that kid when I saw the highlights of him in high school, and I thought maybe he'll be the best of the bunch. So,
well, he was always supposed to be the best of the bunch. That was the thing. He was always going to, coming up, he was supposed to be the best of the three. And the third, the other one, whatever, I don't LiAngelo or whatever was never supposed to be.
Tangerine, I think it was.
Was supposed to be any good, but he, LaMelo was considered the best of the three. And as far as Wiseman goes, like if 10 years ago, I don't think there'd be any doubt Wiseman would be the easy number one pick in this draft. But in today's NBA, they still, while I believe he will have the ability to step out, face up, and knock down some shots, I don't think he's going to have necessarily 3-point range, but I think he can at least face up and do things, which helps him, and just his ability to run the floor at his size. I think in the right system, James Wiseman has a chance to be great in the NBA.
Yeah, this isn't a stiff who can't get up and down the court. This is a freak athlete for his size. Yes, he's not going to get out there and knock down 5 threes a game. Does he have the ability to knock down a 3 occasionally? I think so. He's working on that 3-point shot, but I like him a lot. One other thing, the Rockets, of course, again, in the news every day, they say they feel no pressure to trade James Harden or Russell Westbrook, regardless of the superstar's strong desire for fresh starts with different franchises, and are, quote, willing to get uncomfortable as training camp opens and the season begins. That's according to Tim McMahon of ESPN. And I say if that's true, yes, more power to you, Houston. Don't give in. You have 2 superstars that are worth an awful lot, especially James Harden, on the open market. Don't give in just to appease those guys. Now, again, if you're disgruntled, I understand Harden. I understand Westbrook. Guys don't live up to their or not live up to, but they do not fulfill a lot of times their contracts, which is a problem in of itself. But it is what it is with today's great athletes, with the stars. But Houston, if you don't like what's being offered out there, don't make the deal. Don't make any deal. Just wait. Just wait. All right.
Last Friday, we were out at Edwin Watts, and they had Titleist in store that day doing fittings with their newest line of clubs. Well, this Friday, they're going to have Callaway in store. They're going to be doing fittings for the Maverick products, which are the past year's products, as well as the new Big Bertha lineup. They're going to be there from 10 till 3 in the store at Edwin Watts with that Maverick driver, which a lot of people rave about. The price has just dropped about $100 on that driver. So this is a great time to go get fitted for one of those new Maverick drivers, or check out the new Big Bertha lineup from Callaway. And, of course, that's just one of the club makers out there. And, again, they'll be in store doing the fittings this Friday. But when you're in Edwin Watts, you could try out all the different types of clubs as well, because they've got everything from all of the different club makers, plus all the apparel and everything else that you need at Edwin Watts. It's in the Ridgeway Trace Shopping Center. That's on Poplar there between Ridgeway and 240, the shopping center that has Target, Best Buy. They're right next door to the PetSmart location in the shopping center there, the Ridgeway Trace Shopping Center. So for all your golf needs, and again, don't forget this Friday, Callaway in store doing fittings from 10 until 3. Go see the folks at Edwin Watts. Jay and the gang over there will take good care of you for all your golf needs.
The University of Memphis Tigers football team lose a couple of big-time commits, dropping their class in the rankings. We will discuss when we return. This is Middays on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1 and 98.5 FM.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ. Listen to us daily on AM 560, 98.5 FM, and 96.1 FM.
Is your wife asking you to stop eating junk food? Well, we have you covered at Humdinger's. It's quick and it's healthy, and most important, it tastes amazing. With many choices from salmon salad to rainbow trout and grilled asparagus. Come visit us for lunch at Humdinger's, 6300 Poplar Avenue. So good, Coach Penny eats with us weekly. Don't forget, Humdinger's offers full-service catering for weddings, social events, or your corporate lunches. You can call 901-260-8292 to find out more.
Don't miss Lowe's Provember event, because this month we're saying thanks to our pros in a big way. We have deals on go-to brands like DeWalt, Spyder, and Metabo HPT. During Provember, now through November 25th, you can buy one DeWalt 20-volt Max XR Power Detect tool and get one Bear tool free. We also have credit options to help keep your business moving. Shop in store or at lowesforpros.com/Provember. Lowe's, the new home for pros. Offer valid 10/29 through 11/25. See store for details while supplies last. U.S. only.
All 75 months at 2.99. Mirage LHO 10130, MSRP 16565. G4 LHF 12138, MSRP 17435. Outlander LZ 038819, MSRP 381. Outlander PEV qualifies for a 5,836 federal tax credit. Consult your tax advisor. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695 excludes tax filing license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 11/30/2020. Dealer stock only.
The
2020 year-end sales event is on at Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike. 2020 Mitsubishi Mirage. Buy for $11,100 or $99 a month. 43 MPG Highway. A Mirage you can't miss with 2020 G4. 41 MPG Highway. $139 a month or buy for $12,435. Plus, crossover with 4x4 off-road capabilities with 74 MPG. 2020 Mitsubishi Outlander plug-in hybrid EV. $27,838 or $359 per month. And 10 years of confidence with Mitsubishi's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Get to Gossett Mitsubishi today, 1870 Covington Pike, or shop online at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Right now, we all feel a little disconnected. For seniors living alone, the isolation can be overwhelming. Connect with an older loved one and have the conversation of a lifetime at StoryCorrEconnect.org/AARP. A message from AARP, StoryCorps, and the Ad Council.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. The storms we've had over the past several months have been devastating to our communities. The rainy season is ahead. You may have not even noticed the dripping in your attic, water stains throughout your home, or even worse, mold and mildew. Please call Brian Elder Roofing and we will send out our project managers to assess any damage. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. We will measure your roof from outer space. 0% for 60 months, even no payments till 2022 are available with approved credit. If you've noticed missing shingles, water stains, leaks in your roof, call us before you call your insurance company at 867-0303. That's 867-0303, and we will provide a free, thorough inspection of your roof's condition.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays. This hour of Sports 56 Middays is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers at 4900 Poplar. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Ahead in hour number 3, we'll start things off with Sigmund Bloom from footballguys.com. He'll answer all your fantasy football questions. You can text in at 67129 if you have a question for Sig, or call in when he joins us on the First Bank phone lines at 360-8255. And then we'll have our 5 favorite songs. The topic today is the word little or small needs to be in the title of your song. Again, you can text in your list as you do each and every day to the First Bank text line at 67129, or if you're watching us live, you can message us with the lists at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, and Instagram. So yesterday we had the news on our show about the quarterback Sheldon Lehman, who had decided to enter the transfer the portal, and it's a Memphis quarterback that just didn't see anything for him on the horizon. So he decided to announce that he was leaving the University of Memphis. Well, yesterday also came down some news later in the day about 2 recruits that had committed to Memphis, but obviously had not signed yet. The early signing period coming up in December, and then you have the other signing period in, February? Well, these were 2 guys that were highly recruited for Memphis. In fact, they were at the top of the 21 recruiting class. Andrew Jones and Tyrell Raby both decommitted from Memphis yesterday. They were Louisiana prospects, again, 2 of the higher-ranked players in the class. Now, according to Rivals, even with the 2 decommitments, Memphis will still, or is at least still on target, to have its best recruiting class ever, but they do slip to number 50 in the Rivals.
Yeah, I mean, that's always going to be the battle when you get some of the higher-ranked kids that they may get some more attention later on from maybe some bigger programs, some Power 5 schools, something like that. I don't know if that's exactly what happened here. I'm not following that stuff. But when you're in the group of 5 and you get some higher-ranked kids, they may end up getting more love than they thought from some bigger schools and kind of say, you know what, maybe we ought to explore these other schools that are out there.
Absolutely. And you're always recruiting when you're a coach with this coaching staff and you feel like, well, no, we've hit our numbers. No, until players sign on the dotted line, and even sometimes even after that happens, something happens, something occurs. So you have to always be recruiting. So it's just more work right now for the staff to make sure they go out there and try to do what they can, even though it's kind of a late time period to do that. But there's still, I'm sure, a lot of good players out there that have not had the opportunity to play football in the fall, that are seniors, that are looking forward to an opportunity at a school. And in the case of Memphis, or in the case of anybody out there around the country, they have to do their due diligence.
Well, and it's just been a tough recruiting year overall. So it's been a tougher job this year because you didn't have all the summer camps this past year where you get a chance to really check out kids up close. Obviously, the high school football season was very bizarre. The in-person recruiting not available. So it's been a tough year. So I'm sure there's going to be some kids who fall through the cracks that normally wouldn't have. Just because coaches haven't had the best opportunity to be able to evaluate them.
One quick NFL note, boy, can fortunes change in a hurry. The Kansas City Chiefs plan to sign cornerback DeAndre Baker to their practice squad. A source confirmed to ESPN Baker had been facing 4 counts of robbery with a firearm in Florida in connection with an alleged incident in May, but the charges were dropped on Monday, and the Chiefs quickly reached out to DeAndre Baker. How about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's hey, and if you're him and an opportunity comes from the Kansas City Chiefs, you're going to jump on that because you got a chance to win a ring immediately.
I think you're going to jump on any opportunity after you were facing prison time, and now all of a sudden you're with an NFL franchise. Corky's Ribs and Barbecue, a Memphis staple for over 30 years, voted the #1 barbecue joint in Memphis 22 times. Delectable barbecue. It's fired up in Corky's Hickory and Charcoal Pits. They have incredible ribs, beef, pork, and chicken, amazing sides, and their world-famous onion loaf. 4 Mid-South locations on Poplar Avenue in East Memphis, Poplar Avenue in Collierville, Germantown Parkway in Cordova, and Goodman Road in Olive Branch. And how about this? You order the ultimate taste of Corky's, and you get a free rack of ribs. So you do this by mail order. You put sidelines in the promo code, and you pick up a free rack of ribs. So you get the ribs, the barbecue baked beans, Corky sauce, dry rub seasoning, and a pie, all for just $99.99. Carry-out dine-in options at Corky's. Corky's can cater an event. Shop online and have Corky's deliver their delicious barbecue anywhere in the U.S. of A. And a Corky's gift card makes a great gift as well. Corky's Ribs and Barbecue, open for lunch and dinner 7 days a week. Busy third hour is just ahead. Sigmund Bloom talking NFL fantasy football, and then it's our 5 favorite songs. By the way, tomorrow, Ryan Silverfield and the Tiger Football Report will preview the Tigers and Stephen F. Austin. I'm a lumberjack, and that's okay. Also, Cody Toppert's going to join us tomorrow to recap James Wiseman, Precious Achiuwa, where they go in the NBA draft, and to talk about the Tigers' upcoming season, which begins next week, believe it or not. This is Middays on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1 and 98.5 FM.
Action247.com is your Tennessee sportsbook for same-day pay. Action247.com. Local, legal. A sportsbook by Tennesseans, for Tennesseans. Win a little or win a lot. Action247 has same-day pay. The other guys make you wait for your winnings. No more waiting with Action247 same-day pay. Visit us online at Action247.com. Local, legal. Action247. You got action.
Problem gambling? Call 1-800-889-9789.
Hi, this is John Conway with Conway Services. When was the last time you had your heating system cleaned? How about a safety inspection? Right now, Conway Service is offering our 16-point Energy Saver Super Tune-Up on your heating system for only $69. That's right, for only $69, we'll come out and perform our 16-point Energy Saver Super Tune-Up on your heating system. We'll also include a complete safety inspection using our state-of-the-art camera system, making sure your heating system is safe to operate this winter. Plus, we'll run a carbon monoxide test on your heating system, all for only $69. If that's not enough, as your smart home provider, we'll include a free Nest Hub with your paid tune-up while supplies last. You can have the peace of mind knowing your heating system is safe and ready to use on those cold winter nights. So call Conway Services, the Mid-South's premier heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric service company at 384-3511. And call this week, and we'll perform your heating system tune-up for only $57.
Call 384-3511. Conway Services. Call Conway today.
For over 8 decades, America's farmers have counted on the Little Red Tractor from Case IH, the Farmall, to help them make short work of their demanding chores. Well, Mid-South Ag can show you they aren't just for farms anymore. With horsepower ranging from 30 to 105, plus an army of attachments, they can tackle every chore on your to-do list, from hauling and mowing to loading and towing and then some. Stop by Mid-South Ag Equipment or call 662-890-3141 to find a Case IH Farmall that's right for you.
Good news. Southland Casino is now back open. That's right. The most spacious casino floor in the Mid-South is ready to welcome you back to the action with live blackjack, roulette, craps, and all your favorite slots. The action kicks off every day at 9 a.m. and rolls all the way till 5 o'clock the next morning. So what are you waiting for? Go ahead and make the short drive to Southland. We're ready for you. Must be 21 plus. Play responsibly. For help quitting, call 800-522-4700.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. You've heard me talk about how we offer the best products, the best warranties, and the best services for years. Now let's talk about pricing. Pricing should never be the only reason you hire a contractor, but in today's world, pricing is always a consideration. So we suggest you get 2 or 3 estimates for your roof replacement from a reputable, licensed, and insured company, and then give us a call. If we can't beat your best price for a comparable roof system by more than $100, we'll give you $100. It's that simple. We are so sure we can offer you the best price, beating all other qualified companies, we will hand you $100 if we can't, and thank you for the opportunity. So give us a call. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? Make $100? Fiveash Roof Services, a proud supporter of Tiger Athletics and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. Fiveash Roof Services, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
All 36-month leases, $31.49 due at signing, 0 security deposit, 10,000 miles per year, 20 cents excess mileage, $650 acquisition fee, Forte, LE 242,174, MSRP 20,505, sold, M7755, 682, MSRP 20,315, K5, MG 03199, MSRP 25,725, K900, MSRP 65,610, L60 26,907, L60 21,220, includes all rebates and incentives, PF 695, excludes tax title and license with approved credit offer valid through 11/30/2020, dealer stock only, warranty is a limited powertrain warranty, see Kia.com or retailer for details.
It's time for the Kia Holiday Sales Event and time to command the season in your new ride from Gossett Kia South on Mount Moriah. 2020 Kia Forte, just $133 a month lease. 2021 Kia Soul, only $148 a month lease. Plus 2021 Kia K5, only $189 a month lease. And they're all 36 months, $31.49 due at signing. And don't miss the 2020 Kia K900. We got it at $10,000 off MSRP. So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia, 2680 Mount Moriah or KiaMoriah.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, W253DF Memphis, and WIVG Tunica Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, back to Sports 56 Middays. This hour is brought to you by East Memphis Ace Hardware at Quincy White Station. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
I was a highwayman. Along the coach roads I did ride.
Welcome back, everybody. 12:03 is the time on this Hump Day, Wednesday, November 18, 2020 edition. Greg, Eli, and Gabe will be joined by Sigmund Bloom in just a moment. We're in the Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. Family Leisure, 2120 Witten Road, just north of I-40. Third hour of the program is brought to you by East Memphis Ace Hardware at 5143 Quince Road. It's right next door to Billy Hardwick's All-Star Lanes in the heart of East Memphis. Locally owned and operated by the Carter brothers. Jarrett and his brothers and his family do an outstanding job. Ace is all about convenience and service, and they provide that. It's about that personal human touch, which you don't always get at the big box stores. In fact, you rarely do. Dynamic bilingual employees, fast service, competitive prices. They have a full-time locksmith and a state-of-the-art key center, including rekeying door locks. They have exclusivity on the replacement Duracell key fobs program. They can beat door prices hands down, sometimes by 30 to 50%. East Memphis Ace Hardware is designed for the homeowner. They have a full variety of Benjamin Moore paints and the experts to help you choose the right colors. Ace can take care of your plumbing challenges. They can cut glass, including plexiglass, sharpen your lawnmower blades. They have a new garden center, best price on bird seed, the latest models on the Weber and the Traeger grills, and the very popular Big Green Egg, which Eli just purchased. Air filters, light bulbs, screen repairs. They can do that as well. Come to Ace for your home maintenance projects. Your neighborhood Ace in East Memphis for convenience, service, knowledge, and price. Online at acehardware.com, where they offer free shipping. Call them at 901-683-8688. Any questions you have, open Monday through Saturday, 8 to 7, Sunday, 10 to 4. Before we bring on Sigmund, we are up to 11 games now in college football, either canceled or postponed for this weekend, as the Louisiana Ragin' Cajuns, ranked number 25 in the nation, and their game with Central Arkansas is off. It is time now for Sigmund Bloom.
Time to get all your fantasy football questions answered. Joining Greg and Eli is fantasy football expert Sigmund Bloom of FootballGuys.com. Get your questions in by calling 360-8255 or texting 67129. Here are Greg, Eli, and Sigmund.
He is the man with the plan. He is Sigmund Bloom from FootballGuys.com. He joins us every Wednesday to answer all your fantasy football questions. You can follow him on Twitter at Sigmund Bloom. Hey, Sig, how are you?
Good. Just we're turning the page, and the nice thing is this week we have a tremendous game coming up tomorrow, Seattle and Arizona, to get the juices flowing while the visions of that DeAndre Hopkins, Hill, Murray catch still fresh in our mind.
I didn't hear that until this morning. I was watching ESPN before we jumped on the air, and I heard them say Hail Murray. I didn't hear that at all. For some reason, I guess I was in a cave, but quite clever, I think.
Every play that we will remember on our deathbeds has to have a name.
Well, Sigmund, that Hail Murray cost me a win in my my DraftKings group this week, so it has a sore spot for me. That's a real sore spot for me. I thought I had wrapped it up, and then all of a sudden, all hell broke loose. All right, so we got some quarterback injuries. I want to get from you here first. With Drew Brees' situation, they've got a matchup with the Falcons, which is a great matchup. Do we throw Jameis Winston in our lineups?
I wouldn't. I just don't know how much we're going to see of Taysom Hill. Watching Jameis Winston last week was not encouraging. I would guess, especially with the defense stepping up like they did last year when Brees was out, that Winston's going to be given the prime directive to not turn the ball over and play more conservative. We're not going to see the no brisket, no biscuit that we saw from him last year under Bruce Arians. I would leave Michael Thomas in my lineup. I'd leave Alvin Kamara in my lineup, but I would expect the Saints to become more conservative, and I would expect to see more Taysom Hill than we saw with Brees.
Matthew Stafford, what is his situation? Is he going to play?
It sounds like they expect him to. And this is one of those ones, Eli, where is it good? Is it good for the passing game if he plays? Because they say he has a torn ligament in the thumb on his throwing hand. So maybe that just shows you how much they don't want to play Chase Daniel. But either way, I'd be lowering expectations, even though on paper against Carolina, Tom Brady ran them ragged last week with the passing game. I'd be worried about the effectiveness of the passing game for the Lions.
So does that increase DeAndre Swift's value even more?
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, he's a must-play. He's a running back one, and maybe if your trade deadline hasn't passed, you might try to put together a deal for him, because I don't think that the perception of his value is up to where his actual value is right now.
And Teddy Bridgewater, what's his situation?
They're leaving it open that he could play with his knee injury. The language we've heard is he hasn't been ruled out yet and things like that, but I would not expect him to play. I think we'd see P.J. Walker, and that means, DJ Moore had a good game last week with a couple of busted coverages, but I would expect that Anderson, Curtis Samuel, and DJ Moore all go to our bench. I wouldn't be as excited to play Mike Davis. And, this Detroit-Carolina game is one we might have circled on the calendar a few weeks ago to say lots of offense. But if we've got two backup quarterbacks or two hurt starting quarterbacks, it could just be bad football.
Yeah, and McCaffrey is officially ruled out, correct?
Yeah, he's not going to play this week. And I'm afraid for people holding Christian McCaffrey, and I'm not saying I know this to be true or I would expect it, but it's possible that if they pass a threshold where they're officially eliminated from the playoffs, that they might shut him down for the year.
Sig, we were talking about the situation in New Orleans with Winston and Taysom Hill. What are we hearing about Brees himself? Because I know he wanted to have a second opinion from doctors.
and I'm assuming maybe you're doctor shopping to see if someone will say he can play with these injuries, because 5 broken ribs on both sides of his rib cage and a collapsed lung. That sounds like something to me that would shut him down, at least put him on IR, at least for 3 games. But they're not doing that yet. They're saying 2 weeks. I'm guessing you're hoping that a flak jacket and some pain management would allow him to play. But I wouldn't expect him to be as effective when he does play. And this is also something that sounds like it wasn't one play where this happened. This could just be one of those things why we don't see that many 40-plus-year-old quarterbacks in the NFL. So I would not be assuming that when Brees does get back on the field that he's going to stay on the field for long. And maybe the best plan for the Saints here, since only one team gets a bye, is just to let him heal as much as possible for the playoffs and have him come back in the playoffs like Willis Reed. But this is a really tough situation. Sean Payton sounded testy and unhappy in the Zoom call on Monday because I think this is one of the situations that they didn't prepare for because they hoped it would never happen.
Should everybody be rushing out to pick up Salvon Ahmed?
Yes, because, look, Ahmed looked better than any of the running backs, including Myles Gaskin, have looked this year. The Dolphins' run blocking is getting better, and their defense is surging. So this is changing before our very eyes into a team that's going to win based on defense, especially their strong cornerback play, and really a safe ball control offense. Ahmed's got those fresh legs. This week he goes against Denver. Their front line is missing a lot of key players. So I think he's going to take off. And if you were holding Myles Gaskin for him to potentially remain the starter when he comes back, I think you can go ahead and drop him unless you have that IR spot that allows you to keep him without costing your roster a spot, because I think Ahmed is going to take this job and literally run with it.
One other question. How many Steelers receivers are startable week in and week out?
All 3. The Steelers and Bucks, I think it's just all 3. And I think the pass mode of the Steelers offense is much better than the run mode. James Conner, I don't know if he's wearing down or the Steelers are just a better pass blocking unit than a run blocking unit, but there hasn't been much there. And why would you go away from this? Roethlisberger looks very comfortable throwing to those receivers, and I think you're going to see, especially with a young Jacksonville secondary, this is going to be another big week for Roethlisberger, and all 3 are startable.
You got a question for Sigmund Bloom from footballguys.com. You could text in at 67129. That's 67129. The First Bank text line. You could call in and talk to him directly at 360-8255 on the First Bank phone line. We had a text from somebody. You were talking about Taysom Hill. They say Taysom Hill or Dallas Goedert for the next few weeks at tight end because, yes, Taysom Hill has tight end eligibility, correct?
Yes. And this week, it's more of an unknown. But I'm not saying you're making the wrong move if you're playing Taysom Hill as your tight end, because he can get yardage as a runner, as a passer, and as a receiver. And Dallas Goedert, we're trusting Carson Wentz. And after last week, I don't know how much we want to trust Carson Wentz. At least he gives us a reason to feel good about his play. So that could be one of those things. I had someone ask me, like, is it unethical to play Taysom Hill as a tight end? No. It's this software says tight end eligible.
Yeah. If he's eligible at the position, he's eligible at the position. Like,
exactly.
In fact, I think that's a no-brainer. I think Taysom Hill's going to be big without Breeze, and you can use him as a tight end. My gosh.
Absolutely.
Please rank rest of the year: Fulgham, Michael Pittman, Sammy Watkins, Perryman, and Hollywood Brown.
Okay. This is a kind of a changing situation week to week. Look, out of this group, I'm going to say Pittman is number 1 right now because he has the most momentum. And remember, Indianapolis, they're still going to play Tennessee again next week. They're still going to play Houston twice. That's a matchup that we always want to play almost everyone against. Second, I would probably put Fulgham with hopes that Carson Wentz turns it around because he was playing so well before last week. I would put Brown third because of the playoff schedule. And also, I think without Nick Boyle, who is an important part of the run blocking, that Baltimore may become a little more balanced, even pass heavy. And you've got a schedule coming up after the Steelers game on Thanksgiving next week. Dallas, Cleveland, Jacksonville, and the Giants are the matchups. Those are matchups where I like Marquise Brown to have a better chance have a big game than the matchups we've been seeing lately. Pairing him in fourth, although I can't really make a strong argument against him higher because Joe Flacco is the quarterback. If I knew Joe Flacco was going to be the quarterback for the rest of the year, I'd probably put Perryman number one because of the connections that they have. I just don't know if Sam Darnold's going to play next week or by the end of the year. Sammy Watkins has to be last because now that injury seal is broken, he wasn't doing that much anyway, and you're always reluctant to play him because you never know when you're going to see him leave mid-game with an injury.
Questions for Sigmund Bloom, you can text in on the First Bank text line at 67129, or you can call in at 360-8255. First Bank phone lines are open, and Bobby is taking advantage of that. Hey, Bobby, you're on with Sigmund Bloom.
Hey, guys, how's it going?
Good.
Going well, thank you.
Sigmund, I hope you got I don't know where you are, but I hope it's as pretty wherever you are as it is in Memphis today.
Yeah, it is. It's in New Orleans. It's a glorious day further down the Mississippi in New Orleans.
Hey, well, I'm hanging in there. 12-team league. I moved up from 10th to 7th. The first 6 make the playoffs. I'm a game out of 5th and a game out of 12th, so I just got to keep winning. I got a receiver question for you. PPR, I've got three receivers, and they're all pretty good. Metcalf, Fuller, and Deontay Johnson. They all got high ceilings, but this week kind of scared me because Metcalf has had 4 points 2 out of the last 4 weeks, and one of the weeks was against Arizona. So his floor, I think, is lower this week. Which 2 would you go with?
All right. Thank you, Bobby.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Best of luck to you.
I was looking forward to hear if Bobby was still staying alive.
You're helping him out.
2020 is the year of staying alive.
That's right.
Sounds like he's still alive. Help him stay alive this week. Deontay Johnson has to be in. And then it comes down to Metcalf or Fuller. I still like Metcalf because we have Tyler Lockett on the injury report for this game tomorrow night with a knee issue. And Tyler Lockett had 15 for 203 touchdowns. These teams met 3 weeks ago. So I would imagine that Arizona, Vance Joseph would say, let's not let that happen again. and maybe focus a little more on Lockett and leave Metcalf on a one-on-one island. Fuller, I think, is the one that goes onto the bench just because they're playing New England. I think that Stephon Gilmore should be back. I would guess that he would be on Fuller. And we haven't seen the Texans' pass offense doing as well. England should be a tough draw for them. So Fuller's the one on the bench.
What is a good defense or 2 to pick up for the fantasy playoff weeks?
Yeah, and this is exactly the time to start looking ahead. And look, if you can get Miami, just because of how well they've been playing, I like them anyway. Although their schedule is Kansas City, New England, and Las Vegas, whereas for the next 3 weeks they get Denver and the Jets and Cincinnati. So I think maybe this could be one of those situations where you're inclined to maybe carry 2 defenses. You carry Miami for the next 3 weeks, and then looking ahead to the fantasy playoffs, I don't know how much we trust Seattle's defense right now, but they get the Jets and Washington. Tampa Bay's defense is out there. They get Minnesota, Atlanta, and Detroit, and we're going to continue to watch as these quarterback injuries start to pile up, the quarterbacks that you want to target. So I think that right now we're in kind of a wait-and-see mode. Maybe another one would be the Bears, who get Houston, Minnesota, and Jacksonville in Week 16. So I would like the Bears maybe to hold back for Week 16. The Rams are going to get the Jets in Week 15. So those are 2 good matchups to hold back. But Miami would be my favorite to get us to the playoffs, and then maybe going matchup by matchup through the playoffs.
Cook or Hawkinson this week, half PPR?
It's got to be Hawkinson just because I have no idea what Cook's role is going to be in this pass offense. Now, Hawkinson's the one that we're watching. Last week he had his first real dud of the season for fantasy, and he was on the injury report with a toe injury, and he might be playing with either Matthew Stafford and his messed up thumb or Chase Daniel. So it's not exactly bright prospects there, but I think
PPR need 2 running backs this week out of James Robinson, Mike Davis, Gurley, Gio Bernard, and Balaj. Can't believe Balaj is in the mix, but he's looked great the last 2 weeks, and he's all the Chargers have.
Yeah, it's really, it's quite a stunning turn here. I think James Robinson has really earned that deference from us, even though he's facing the Steelers. He hasn't lowered his intensity at all, even as Jacksonville season's been lost. So he would be the first call. And then I think Balaj would actually be second because he's the clear lead back right now. They're playing the Jets. That should set up some scoring opportunities. And Balaj, back-to-back weeks now, gets revenge against the teams that didn't believe in him.
PPR League, Mike Davis, Ronald Jones, or Travis Fulgham?
I don't know how you go away from Ronald Jones right now. And with Davis, again, he was quarterback uncertainty with Carolina. Ronald Jones in that 98-yard touchdown run. Also with Tampa and their wide receiver trio, you would think that you're not putting 8 in the box. And I would hope that Bruce Arians and company say, hey, if he can break a 98-yard touchdown run, we should give him as many opportunities to do that right in a game.
My 4 running backs are McCaffrey, Mostert, Gallman, and Davis. Have to start Gallman and Davis this week. Should I drop one and pick somebody up?
I would not. Because, look, holding on to guys like McCaffrey and Mostert and Austin Eckler, they may end up being a waste of a spot, but if they're not, these are the players that can put you over the top. Now, I'm sad to inform the person who sent us this question that Wayne Gallman's on bye this week. So hopefully you aren't one of those situations where there's a limit and you can only carry 4 running backs, but you are going to need to pick up another running back this week. And hopefully if you do have to drop Gallman, it could be for some of these guys we talked about, like Salvin Ahmed or Kalen Balaj.
Yeah, I was going to say Ahmed. But you still believe in holding on to Mostert, though?
He should be back. There's a hope that he'll be back in week 12, and I think the San Francisco offense is going to be organized around him. Remember, he was ripping off a 70 or 80-yard touchdown almost every game before he got hurt.
It's There's I guess they're with the injuries they have, they're limited on who they can kind of focus to on that offense. So he might get 30 carries just because what else are they going to do? Tell everybody about footballguys.com.
Yeah, we're still here. We've got some mid-season discounts. We're covering you DFS, IDP, whatever style fantasy football you like. We're obsessing about it, and it's that time, and we obsess over every decision because, like Bobby described, a game could be the difference between you going to the playoffs and going home, and at least we'll give you somebody to take the weight and blame when it all goes wrong.
Got one final question that just came in here. Sure. Superflex, PPR, pick one. Carr, Fuller, Cooks, Davis, Gio, or Gurley. Says normally use a quarterback in that spot, but Carr scares me this week.
No, Carr shouldn't scare you. Remember, last time out against Kansas City, he had a massive game. I think this could be the highest scoring game of the week. It is the Sunday night game. So I think Carr is a must play.
He is Sigmund Bloom, footballguys.com. You can follow him on Twitter at Sigmund Bloom. Sigmund, as always, thank you.
Thanks, Sig.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Take care. Good stuff, as always, from Sigmund Bloom. Good stuff from FanDuel. FanDuel Sportsbook and sports gambling in the state of Tennessee is now legal. Gambling is not legal at Bushwood, sir, and I never slice. No, you can place your first bet on FanDuel Sportsbook risk-free and get up to $1,000 back if you don't win. That's amazing. No strings attached. Just place any bet you want. If you win, you keep the cash. If you lose, you'll get your entire bet up to $1,000 back in bonus site credit so you can take another shot at the end zone on the house. What would I do with the risk-free bet? I like my Terps this week, -6 versus Michigan State. And with FanDuel Sportsbook, generous risk-free bets are just the beginning. They've got a simple app, live betting on every game, and exhilarating bet types such as same-game parlays when you combine multiple bets from one game into a single parlay. And once you win on FanDuel Sportsbook, they get you your winnings in as little as 24 hours. It's a lot of fun. It's easy to register, easy to deposit your money, easy to find your bet, then it's easy to withdraw the money. Odds boosts and specials just add to the excitement of FanDuel. To claim your risk-free bet, just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app and be sure to sign up with the promo code GASMAN so they know I sent you. That's FanDuel Sportsbook, promo code GASMAN. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Site credit is non-withdrawable and expires 7 days after receipt. Terms apply. See sportsbook.fanduel.com for details. For problem gambling support, call 1-800-889-9789. When we return, it's our 5 favorite songs. This is Middays on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1, and 98.5 FM.
Listen online anywhere, anytime at sports56whbq.com.
The Black Friday sales event is on at Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat on Covington Pike. And we're going to blow you away with what you save. 2020 Jeep Renegade Latitude 4-wheel drive IAHS top safety pick. We Gossett at $20,736 or $259 a month. Or power up your game in a 2020 Dodge Charger $24,320 or $299 a month. And get rammed up in a 2020 Ram 1500 Tradesman Crew Cab 4x2 $29,656 or $396 a month. And 2020 Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo 4x2 $29,878 or $398 a month. Drive past the rest. Come to the best. Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat 1901 Covington Pike. Online GossettMotorCars.net.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All must finance through Chrysler, 3,500 cash down, 75 months at 4.11 APR. Renegade, LPM 02132, MSRP 26,580. Charger, LH 167,053, MSRP 31,490. Tradesman, LG 29329, MSRP 37,855. Cherokee, LC 403,192, MSRP 35,495. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695 excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 11/30/2020 with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
Looking for a great place to deposit your money? Try First Bank. Competitive CD rates, a money market that moves with Wall Street prime and interest-bearing checking account options. Not to mention their friendly bankers who make decisions locally. To find out more, stop by one of First Bank's 3 local branches. 6482 Poplar Avenue, just east of International Paper. 8398 Highway 64 across from Wolf Chase. And 6280 Highway 64 in Oakland. Or visit firstbankonline.com. Member FDIC.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. The storms we've had over the past several months have been devastating to our communities. The rainy season is ahead. You may have not even noticed the dripping in your attic, water stains throughout your home, or even worse, mold and mildew. Please call Brian Elder Roofing and we will send out our project managers to assess any damage. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. We will measure your roof from outer space. 0% for 60 months, even no payments till 2022 are available with approved credit. If you've noticed missing shingles, water stains, leaks in your roof, call us before you call your insurance company at 867-0303. That's 867-0303, and we will provide a free, thorough inspection of your roof's condition.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Buy your next car or truck at Streamline Auto Smart. Your next smart decision. All credit welcome. Drive off in your new low-mileage pre-owned car or truck. From low-end cars to the most luxurious sports car. Ask about the 48-hour vehicle locator. Let Streamline Auto Smart do the looking for you. Close your deal within 1 hour. No waiting. It's quick and easy at Streamline Auto Smart. Your next smart decision. 2558 Mount Moriah. Call Streamline Auto Smart 901-235-8845. Your next smart decision.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays. This hour is brought to you by East Memphis Ace Hardware at Quince and White Station. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
He was a hard-headed man. He was brutally handsome. She was terminally pretty.
Welcome back, everybody. 12:27 the time. In case you missed some of the latest postponements from college football this weekend, SMU Houston is off. Navy and USF is off. Louisiana and Central Arkansas, the latest to be postponed. Again, postponements and cancellations, the combination have reached double digits now, 3 straight weeks. It was 2 weeks ago was 10, then 15 last week. We're up to 11 now.
I believe that Missouri currently is down to 55 guys. So they are getting very close to the limit.
Sure are.
So they need to make sure they don't have any more positive tests because they are on the brink. They have to have 53 by the SEC rule, and I think right now they're at 55 guys available.
Right now, we need you, if you haven't done so already, to send in your list of your 5 favorite songs via text. First Bank text line 67129, or if you're watching us live, you can message us with the lists at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, and Instagram, all those social media platforms. The topic today is the word little or the word small. It's time for 5 favorite songs.
5 favorite songs.
I think I went first yesterday. Is that correct? I think I'm going to defer, and I think you went the other day, Gabe, so we're going to defer to Eli today, first for the songs. Then we'll go Gabe second, then myself, and then we'll get to your lists on the topic little or small, which I thought was pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah, it was solid. I actually eliminated some songs from my list based on I had used them previously, so I could get it narrowed down. It was tough narrowing some things down, so I went with if I've used you before, you're out for this one. I will start with an honorable mention. Got to give Donnie and Marie credit for a little bit country, a little bit rock and roll.
I remember when they had their show and they would sing that song. I actually liked it.
Got to give. I hope I didn't ruin. I hope it's not on your list, but whatever. If it is, that's up to you. Number 5, "Smoke a Little Smoke" by Eric Church. Number 4 is an oldie but a great song. I love this song. "Wake Up Little Susie" by the Everly Brothers. Number 3, "Small Town" by John Mellencamp. Number 2, "Little Lion Man" by Mumford & Sons. Not one we could play on the air. And number 1...
less conversation, a little more action, please. All this aggravation ain't satisfaction in me. A little more pride, a little less fun. A little less pride, a little more spark. Close your mouth and open up your heart and maybe satisfy me. Satisfy me, baby.
One of my favorite Elvis songs. A little less conversation. I actually watched last night on Prime Video Elvis and Nixon. Which is they put together like a movie about the meeting. And
I've seen that.
I watched that last night, and it got me in the Elvis mood. And I love "A Little Less Conversation" by Elvis.
Didn't, if I wasn't mistaken, I know they met, and didn't Nixon have what's his name from the FBI, Hoover, have some kind of like he was following Elvis, like they were making sure, like he was so paranoid, that guy, that he had it with like a lot of people. I know they did it with John Lennon. It may not have been Elvis, but I thought they also had like kind of a sheet out there on Elvis. He didn't really like Elvis, and then he obviously met him the one time. But it was pretty cool.
That was not part of that movie. The whole thing was about Elvis's desire to meet Nixon and become that undercover agent at large and get his badge. And he wanted to meet Hoover to get the badge, all that stuff. And but it was they have Kevin Spacey playing Richard Nixon. But it's just an interesting little thing to watch if you've got Prime Video.
Yeah, but anyway, the song, I like it an awful lot. It was right there, but it did not make my list. Gabe, you're second.
Let's go for it. Number 5, I agree with you, Eli. A Little Less Conversation, Elvis at number 5 for me. 4, All the Small Things by Blink-182. 3, this is just for Greg since he mentioned you could use little and lil. Lil, so I put Just a Little Bit by 50 Cent. 2, Small Town by John Mellencamp, and I'm taking bets right now. What do you think my number 1 is? Any guesses?
No.
All
right, we'll hear.
With you, it could be anything.
Oh, yes, I should have known. This is one of the ones I left off my list. I should have known this was your number 1. Dang it.
Three Little Birds, Bob Marley. See, I had to ask you.
I knew it too, and I just because literally when I was doing it, this was one of the ones I eliminated because I've used it before, and I actually thought Gabe will probably have this as his number 1 anyway.
He'll play this anyway.
And then when you just asked the question, I completely forgot about it. I was like, that just drew a complete blank. But yes, I absolutely thought that when I was doing it. I was like, Gabe will have that as his number 1 anyway.
Yeah, there were a lot of songs that we've had on lists before. I noticed that, and I started to question whether or not we have done this topic before. But it just so happened to be that we had songs that fell into other categories, because there were a couple that I kept off my list because of the reasons you said, Eli. I think there may be one on here that I had before, but there were a couple. One of them being Every Little Thing She Does Is Magic. Mm-hmm. I know that came up before, so I left that one off. So I try to look for something a little bit different. Not as much as you, but I do sometimes, and last night I did. So I came up with an oldie but goodie, not as old as Wake Up Little Susie, but this goes back to the 70s. It was a group called Sweet, and the song is Little Willie. Little Willie, number 5. Number 4, Dirty Little Secret by the All-American Rejects. Number 3, Crazy Little Thing Called Love by Queen. Number 2, Give Me Just a Little More Time by Chairman of the Board, which was used by people on, I guess, Time. We used it before. Really, really good song. And then here's my number 1.
Well, I was born in a small town, and I live in a small town. Probably died in a small town, small communities. All my friends live in a small town. My parents live in the same small town. My job is a small town, provides little opportunity.
Yeah, pretty easy to come to the conclusion that the song is called Small Town. Says it a few times in the song. Great song by John Mellencamp. My number 1, Small Town.
Tim the Toolman Taylor. Number 5, Small Town Southern Man, Alan Jackson. Number 4, Small Town Boy, Dustin Lynch. Number 3, Small Town Throwdown, Brantley Gilbert, Justin Moore, and Thomas Rhett. Number 2, Little Moments, Brad Paisley. And number 1, Smoke a Little Smoke. Let's see. Carol in number 5, Keeping It Small Town, Jason Aldean. Number 4, Breakup in a Small Town, Sam Hunt. Number 3, Small Town Southern Man, Alan Jackson. Number 2, Small Town Hypocrite, Kaylee Hammock. And number 1, Small Town, John Mellencamp. She went Small Town for all 5 of her songs. And then threw an honorable mention into Give a Little Bit by Supertramp, which is a very good one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that was the one I eliminated, too.
Me too.
I've used it before.
Me too.
Let's see here. Cliff Huxtable. Honorable mention to Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star by every little snot-nosed kid ever. Number 5, Smoke a Little Smoke. Number 4, Small Town Southern Man. Number 3, Small Town. Number 2, Little Wing by Stevie Ray Vaughan. And number 1, Crazy Little Thing Called Love, but goes the Dwight Yoakam version. The Queen version was another one that I eliminated because I had used it previously.
I did not know that existed, a Dwight Yoakam version. Have you heard that, Eli, before?
Yes, I've heard that. I've heard Dwight Yoakam do it.
Did he do a good job?
Yeah, he does a good job. I like Dwight Yoakam, pretty much everything Dwight Yoakam does. So
I like his acting.
Downtown Leo, number 5, Little Old Lady from Pasadena by the Beach Boys. I actually really wanted to get Little Deuce Coupe from the Beach Boys on my list, but I could not. They decided they were one of the last ones eliminated. I didn't even think about Little Old Lady from Pasadena, but I would actually be more partial to Little Deuce Coupe anyway.
Is that the beat? I always thought that was Jan and Dean. That's a Beach Boy song, Little Old Lady from Pasadena. That's a great song. I always thought it was Jan and Dean.
He's got the Beach Boys listed
Okay.
here. I always get those mixed up. I don't know which ones are some. Jan and Dean throws some in there that I always think are Beach Boys. Number 4, Little Genie from Elton John. Number 3, With a Little Help from My Friends by the Beatles. Number 2, Little Red Corvette by Prince.
Gosh.
And number 1, Little Wing by Jimi Hendrix.
Forgot about Little Red Corvette.
That was another one that I had but eliminated. Santa Claus checks in. Number 5, Little Saint Nick. Number 4, Little Drummer Boy. Number 3, We Need a Little Christmas. Number 2, Oh Little Town of Bethlehem. And number 1, Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas.
It's too early for Christmas.
Good to hear from Santa. I'm glad Santa checked in.
Good songs, though. Actually, all good songs. Yeah, Jan and Dean, Little Old Lady from Pasadena. So I don't know if the Beach Boys wrote it and then or covered it, but I have it as Jan and Dean.
I'm sure they just got them mixed up just like everybody else does. You hear Jan and Dean, you think it's Beach Boys. Zed, number 5, Little Sister, Dwight Yoakam. Number 4, Little Red Corvette. Number 3, Crazy Little Thing Called Love. Number 2, Little Less Conversation. And number 1, Small Town Saturday Nights, Hal Ketchum. Let's see here. Nico is not a big fan of the Coug, but honorable mention to the lyric "Sucking on a chili dog outside the Tasty Freeze" from Small Town.
The Coug.
I don't even know if he was he the Coug at the time he did Small Town.
See,
I never know.
I thought he was.
He might be. I don't know.
I thought he was the
remember.
Coug, but oh gosh, that's so funny.
I always just put John Mellencamp. I never know when he was the Coug and when he wasn't the Coug.
Oh, that's so funny.
But that is a great lyric. There is no doubt that is a great lyric.
Yep.
No question about that.
Hey, does Tasty Freeze still exist?
I have no idea. Number 5, Small Hours by the Pogues. Number 4, Little Rude Girl by Lars Fredriksson and the I'm not going to say the other word. Number 3, Give a Little Bit, Supertramp. Number 2, Elderly Woman Behind the Counter in a Small Town by Pearl Jam. And number 1, These Little Earthquakes by the Tori Amos. Nico gets Tori in at number 1.
It has been a while.
Yeah, it's especially at number 1.
Right.
Bobby in Midtown, number 5, Little Red Rooster by Howlin' Wolf. Number 4, A Little Bit of Sympathy by Robin Trower. Number 3, Little Red Corvette. Number 2, Little T&A by the Rolling Stones. And number 1, Little Miss Can't Be Wrong by the Spin Doctors.
Not a bad tune.
Lou and KC. Number 5, A Little More Love by Olivia Newton-John. Number 4, Little Genie Elton John. Number 3, Gimme Just a Little More Time by Chairman of the Board. Number 2, Every Little Step by Bobby Brown. Yeah, you got a little Bobby Brown in there. I didn't think of that one. Number 1, Every Little Kiss by Bruce Hornsby and The Range.
That Olivia Newton-John song, by the way, really, really good. Almost made my list.
Sports side note about Hornsby's twin sons. Keith played shooting guard at Virginia. Russell ran track at Oregon.
Wasn't he at...
One played at LSU.
LSU,
The one kid
yeah.
played at LSU. Was that... Because he played it, and then he played it. He's been in the G League for a few years. Was that...
It's Keith.
Is that Keith?
Yeah.
Yeah, he played at LSU, not Virginia.
You're right. He didn't transfer anything, right?
I don't believe so.
I'll look it up,
At
yeah.
LSU.
Yeah,
But he's been in the G League for the last few years. Don't know if he will still be there, if the G League actually has a season or not.
Yeah, let me see. It says, he's played. He played at UNC Asheville and then transferred to LSU. So he's from Williamsburg, Virginia. That's where he was born.
Yeah. Ray in Cordova says, I left off several songs that appeared on previous lists, including some number 1s. Honorable mention to Little Sister, Elvis Presley, and Every Little Bit, Bruce Hornsby and The Range. Number 5, Stay Just a Little Bit Longer, Jackson Browne. Number 4, Wake Up Little Susie. Number 3, With a Little Luck by Wings.
Good one.
Number 2, With a Little Help from My Friends, The Beatles. And number 1, Little Miss Can't Be Wrong, Spin Doctors. Let's see here. Number 5, Three Little Birds, Bob Marley. Number 4, Little Miss Can't Be Wrong. Number 3, Small Town. Number 2, Crazy Little Thing Called Love. And number 1, from Small Things, Mama, Big Things One Day Come by Dave Edmunds, Bruce Springsteen. So it's a truly great song many people have never heard. I have never heard of it. You're a Bruce Springsteen guy.
A duet with Dave Edmunds and the Boss?
From Small Things, Mama, Big Things One Day Come. You ever heard it?
No. Can't say I have. Maybe if I hear the song, I would know, but it doesn't ring a bell.
Oh, yes, and somebody points this out, too. Nico's incorrect. The chili dog thing is from Jack and Diane, not Small Town.
That's right.
A couple of people pointed that out. Yes, that is correct. Now that I think about it.
Astute listeners out there.
Very, very
Mellencamp
good.
fans.
Very good. So, Nico, yeah that's right.
Come on, Nico.
That is,
it was still funny going the Coug.
It's still good. And it's still a great lyric. It's just a different song,
yes.
which actually I think is a better song. Jack and Diane I actually prefer over Small Town. But that's just me. Billy on Facebook, Break Up in a Small Town, Sam Hunt. Little Bitty by Alan Jackson. Number 3, I'm Little But I'm Loud by Little Jimmy Dickens. That's a double word score. Number 2, Small Town USA, Justin Moore. And number 1, Small Y'all, Kenny Chesney and George Jones. Honorable mention to Small Fry, Bing Crosby, and Johnny Mercer.
Small Fry.
Brandy on Facebook, Small Town, Florida, Georgia Line. Number 4, One Small Miracle, Brian White. Number 3, Little Rain, Morgan Wallen. Number 2, Every Little Thing, Russell Dickerson. And number 1, So Small, Carrie Underwood. John goes a complete Tom Waits edition. Little Man, Little Boy Blue, Little Drop of Poison, Little Trip to Heaven, and A Sweet Little Bullet from a Pretty Blue Gun, all by Tom Waits.
Jeez. I bet Tom Waits has sung over 10 songs.
Says Tom Waits, fun fact, he was in the movie Paradise Alley with Sylvester Stallone, played a drunk piano player.
Oh, man.
The Tom Waits are just, the Waits facts are flying. Bobby, number 5, Small Town Girl, Steve Warner. Number 4, Famous in a Small Town, Miranda Lambert. Number 3, Every Little Thing She Does Is Magic, The Police. 2, Give a Little Bit, Supertramp. And number 1, With a Little Help from My Friends, the Wonder Years theme. Honorable mention to It's a Small World by Lawrence Welk. Andrew, honorable mention to All the Small Things, Blink-182. You had that on your list, right, Gabe?
I did.
Number 5, Crazy Little Thing Called Love. Number 4, Little Bitty. Number 3, Make a Little by Midland. Number 2, Stay a Little Longer, Brothers Osborne. And number 1, Little Miss Honky Tonk, Brooks and Dunn. That
Are we Brooks and Dunn for today?
Nico says, I was so hoping that flew under the radar. As soon as y'all played Small Town, I figured out I made an error.
At least he admits it, right? It just went right over our heads.
Yeah, listen, I was just reading it and didn't even think about the fact that it was the different Mellencamp. I knew it was a Mellencamp lyric, and it just kind of, that's what happens when I trust our listeners to be it right, and Nico just makes us all look stupid.
Yeah, but I was laughing so much from he called him the kook. I'm still laughing at that. I didn't even think about it. All right, so you guys are going to be mad at us because we can't do 5 favorite songs tomorrow. We don't have no time. Unless we go another hour, and John wouldn't like that. So we're going to give you the topic for Friday. So you have extra time to come up with your 5 favorite songs. What do we got for Friday, Eli?
I believe somebody suggested one of these, and I'm going to put a couple of them together. They may have suggested we're going to do Wonderful or Great.
We haven't done those either. Oh, there's going to be a lot of good songs here. Wonderful or Great. So again, not tomorrow, but we're going to do this for Friday. Wonderful or Great. All right. One final timeout. We'll take that. We'll come back. We'll wrap up things. We'll get you caught up to date with all that has happened with college football news. And it's the NBA draft today. That's coming up tonight, I think, 7 o'clock Central Time. It should be a banner day. If you talk about getting 2 in the first round from the same school, the University of Memphis has only done that, I think, one time back in 2006, I believe. And they're on the precipice of that happening again. In fact, it should happen again tonight with James Wiseman and Precious Achiuwa. We will discuss. We'll wrap it up with one final thing as well. This is Middays on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1, and 98.5 FM.
Memphis Tiger fans, catch the Blue and Gray Show with John Stacey and Drew Barrett, Sunday nights from 5 till 7, right here on Sports 56, 98.5, and 96.1.
Brian Smith, we love the one and only Lexus dealership in Memphis.
Thanks, Stats. The fall months are always the best time to shop for both new and pre-owned cars. We're right in the middle of model year end change. The 2020s have got to go to make room for the new 2021 models, and we continue to trade for the best pre-owned cars in the city, all makes and models.
Service is one of y'all's hallmarks.
Our award-winning service department is adhering to all socially distanced safety precautions.
You can experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com.
Did you know Prilosec OTC can stop frequent heartburn before it begins? Yep, I said before. Block heartburn at the source by taking the Prilosec OTC 2-week challenge. With just 1 pill a day, you get 24-hour heartburn relief. That's all day. Start the 2-week challenge today at prilosecotc.com and live heartburn free. Just 1 pill a day, 24 hours, 0 heartburn. It's It's possible while taking Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
In today's world, a lot is going on, but one thing is always true. You need to take care of yourself. The skin clinics can help. Age, diet, genetics, and current events can conspire to make you look and feel much older than you are. It doesn't have to be that way. Call the skin clinics and let their expertly trained nurses, estheticians, and staff choose the treatment that best suits you and your pocket. There's so much you can do. Consider skin resurfacing and rejuvenation, lash extensions and specialty brows, injectables, medical grade chemical peels, laser hair reduction, waxing, facials, makeup applications, and even services just for men. The Skin Clinics has it all in a caring, safe environment, always observing current social distancing guidelines. Go to theskinclinic.com to find out more and call today for your appointment at 901-345-SKIN. That's 901-345-SKIN. Taking care of yourself is good for you and your loved ones. Come to the Skin Clinics, 1300 Wolf Park Drive in Germantown.
Hi, this is Troy 5 owner of 5 Reef Services. You've heard me talk about how we offer the best products, the best warranties, and the best services for years. Now let's talk about pricing. Pricing should never be the only reason you hire a contractor, but in today's world, pricing is always a consideration. So we suggest you get 2 or 3 estimates for your roof replacement from a reputable, licensed, and insured company, and then give us a call. If we can't beat your best price for a comparable roof system by more than $100, we'll give you $100. It's that simple. We are so sure we can offer you the best price, beating all other qualified companies. We will hand you $100 if we can't, and thank you for the opportunity. So give us a call. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? Make $100? 5 Roof Services, a proud supporter of Tiger Athletics and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. 5 Roof Services, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
5 Roofing is what we do. We're here for you.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays. This hour is brought to you by Action247.com. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Working part-time in a 5 and dime. My boss was Mr. McGee. He told me several times.
So we had another cancellation as Utah State and Wyoming, scheduled for tomorrow night, has been canceled. COVID-19 issues with Utah State.
So we're up to 12. Let me ask you something as far as the gambling is concerned. When you put a play in and the game ends up getting postponed, what happens? They just credit back your money, or
it's a no bet?
It's a no. I mean, they do that immediately.
Yeah, they should.
Okay.
Once it becomes official that game is off, they should. Yeah.
I mean, in this day and age, I mean, I guarantee you that's happening all the time.
So I got this tweet here from Smug Memphian.
Yeah, I already responded.
His hot take is that John Mellencamp is better than Springsteen.
Well, smug Republican. First of all,
which I do like more John Mellencamp songs than Bruce Springsteen songs. I actually would agree with him.
First of all, he's smug Republican. Now, I'm a Republican, but he's smug Republican, and obviously Springsteen's a Democrat. I don't know what Mellencamp is, but so there might be the political view is why he's saying that. Mellencamp's had a lot of good songs. Springsteen dwarfs him. Springsteen, look at the what's the music magazine that always has the countdowns? Rolling Stone. Look at Rolling Stone. Bruce Springsteen's like top 15 greatest artist ever. Mellencamp's probably top 100, I would think, right? Maybe top 60, but he's not Springsteen. You're kidding me. Look at Springsteen and the E Street Band. Look at how they go to a concert. Tell me who's got a better concert. 3 hours of pure rock and roll with Springsteen and the E Street Band. Get out of here. Plus the songs he has written. He's written way more songs, much more heralded songs. I mean, I'm not downplaying Mellencamp. He's put a nice library of songs together. It is not even comparable to the Boss. Sorry. I know it's only my opinion. So but my opinion matters.
My response to him was correct, that you would be willing to fight for him. you would want to fight him.
I don't know if we're going to drop gloves over that, but look, I love the Boss, man.
You clearly are.
Plus, in the pride of New Jersey.
I will say the most disappointing live music performance probably I've ever been to
was
Mellencamp at Music Fest.
Yes,
it was terrible. So
it was awful.
That is a negative against him, but the reason I was bad because he didn't play any of the songs I like, which there's a ton of songs of his that I like, and he didn't play any of them. He was playing all new stuff. That's what. But I will say that if I if you put their song list together, I would like more songs of Mellencamp's than Springsteen's.
You got to listen to more songs from Springsteen. If you go to a concert, you have 3 hours of those songs.
Again, Greg, you can have your opinion. You don't have to fight me about it. I like John Mellencamp more than I like Bruce Springsteen.
It's that Midwest.
And so does this other guy.
You're a Midwest guy. That's why.
It is what
if you were
it is.
from the Northeast, you're from Jersey, you would love Springsteen.
Don't go slash my tires in the parking lot over it. I'm just expressing an opinion.
Gabe, do you have a knife?
It's a musical taste is all it is. Okay. Fleet Feet, the place to go to get all your running gear. You want to make sure you get shoes just right for you based on the way you run or walk. And the folks at Fleet Feet do that for you. If you go on in, they take a look at the way you run or walk, fit you in shoes just right for you. They've got 2 locations for you to go see them in East Memphis in the Laurelwood Shopping Center and in Collierville at Poplar and Houston Levy next door to the Hueys. Go to either one of the 2 stores. Have them, again, take a look at the way you run or walk and fit you with shoes right for you, plus any other gear that you need. They've got it for you at Fleet Feet. Time now for one final thing.
Before Greg and Eli get out of here for the day, they each have one final thing they think you should know to make it through the rest of your day. So here are Greg and Eli with one final thing.
So the New York Giants and head coach Joe Judge have fired offensive line coach Mark Colombo. Why? Well, according to reports, they got into a fist fight this morning. That's not going to sit well. They got into a fist fight. Now, Colombo is a mountain of a man. What is he, Gabe? 6'8"?
6'8", 320. Former O-lineman.
6'8", 320. I don't believe that's the guy you want to get into a fight with. And according to reports, he got the better of Joe Judge. But in the end, who got the better? Joe Judge fired him, if you believe all the reports.
Well, there's basically one report that the fight actually happened.
Right. So
and
if you believe the reports, as
the Giants are absolutely denying it. And all the other reports basically say they brought in a consultant to basically work with him on the offensive line. He got upset about it, and he got fired because of his reaction. But everybody says there was no actual fist fight between the two of them.
Well, if it occurred, and I said if you believe the report, if it did happen, that would be probably one of the dumbest moves you can have if you are Joe Judge, to go up against a guy who's 6'8", 320. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, now I just have to read a couple of these texts that have come in because of our discussion. One person, we do have a text from somebody else that says Springsteen is overrated.
These people are they're trolling now. They're trolling.
But somebody else says, I guess talking about both Mellencamp and Springsteen, those are trash. Elvis is better than all.
Well, nobody's comparing Elvis, right? Elvis is Elvis.
Yeah, I mean, Elvis, you could think Elvis is better than that. Doesn't make the other 2 trash.
Yeah, well, people are trolling now. I know how great Springsteen is. I don't need to be reminded by people or being told differently. I know how great that guy is. And again,
and I know how great Mellencamp is.
And I'm not denying that. I mean, he's great. But I mean, longevity, everything. I mean, it's all the concerts. Everything is, in my opinion, in the corner.
Mellencamp's gone through 3 different names. Don't talk about longevity.
Yeah. Bruce Springsteen didn't go through his Cougar version there. And again, keep the politics out of it, okay? Because I don't agree with everything that Springsteen talks about.
You're assuming this guy's putting politics in it. Like you can like one over the other without being political.
His freaking name is Smug Republican.
Okay, but that doesn't mean he likes Mellencamp because of politics. I don't like Mellencamp because of politics.
It means he doesn't like Springsteen because of politics.
Why? I don't.
Come on. That's like a person that says that their moniker is "I hate blue," and then they say, "Listen, I like red way better than blue. We don't like blue." Yeah, your name's "I hate blue."
But I mean, you're just because his Twitter handle is one thing doesn't mean that's why he likes one musician over better.
If the person wants to be honest Abe, I guarantee you, if you give them a little potion for the honesty to come out, they will admit that that's the reason.
But I like Mellencamp better, and it has nothing to do with politics.
Because you don't care about politics. I don't care about politics either.
So I'm saying you can like Mellencamp without politics being involved.
Yes, you can. Yes, but this particular person called Smug Republican obviously has an issue with the boss. Big thanks to Jay Phillips, Jerry Palm, Sigmund Bloom for joining us on the program today. Tomorrow we're loaded. Brandon Lang will join us. We'll have the Tiger Football Report with Ryan Silverfield, Tigers head coach, as the Tigers will play Stephen F. Austin on Saturday. Harold Grader will join us for the AutoZone Liberty Bowl Inside College Football Hour. We'll have our world-famous Pick 6, and Cody Toppert from the University of Memphis men's basketball team. Sports 56 Happy Hour with Johnny Radio is coming up next. For Eli and Gabe, I'm Greg. Have a great day, everybody.
News while I'm kicking on the